tolerate, what you will not, what you do want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like. You know, you have to realize when something, I always go with me, I always go with my gut feeling. Like if something just doesn't feel right, you know, I feel it in my gut and my discernment, and I have the spirit of discernment. And if something is not right, I always listen to my discernment because it never steers me wrong. So whatever the situation is, you know, always make good decisions. And if you have to take the time out and to think, you know, do that. But most of the time we already know the answer. We're just afraid to make that decision because we're afraid that the outcome may not be that good. But you have to do what's best for you. All right, so those are the 7 ways to practice self-love. So now I'm going to discuss my own personal journey with self-love. 2 years ago, I was in a very toxic relationship that was abusive, both mentally, emotionally, and verbally abusive. I mean, I noticed that before I was with this person, I was content with who I was, where I was going in my life. And then once I got with this person, I noticed that he chipped away a part of my self-esteem every single day. He would just say certain things and start planting negative thoughts in my head and having me think that the world is against me. And later on, it wasn't until later on that I discovered that his insecurities that he had about himself and how he felt about himself, he projected that onto me and made it seem like I was all these things, that in all actuality really was him. And I found myself doubting myself in every area of my life. He judged me based on my shows. He told me, because I host events throughout the year, about 12, 15 shows a year. And I get a lot of compliments on my shows. A lot of people come out to my shows, they have a great time. It consists of music, poetry, and comedy. And he does shows as well. And later on I found out that it was jealousy, that he was trying to make me feel insecure about myself as an artist, as a promoter, as a woman, just in general. He wanted to make me feel insecure about everything because that's how he felt about himself. You know, and men, they can be jealous of you too. You can have somebody you in a whole relationship with and they hating on you. And you may have experienced it and didn't think much about it, or you may not have, but it's a real thing. Men can be jealous of women too. And it wasn't until I finally decided to release myself from this relationship where I felt free. And it was hard breaking from that person because I had a soul tie. And soul ties are really, really strong. They really are. And it takes a minute to, like, you know, kind of detoxify yourself from that toxic relationship. Once I finally just was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I didn't like how I felt about myself. I didn't like how I was changing, and I wasn't changing in a good way, you know, and I became extremely insecure about everything. And that's what he wanted. He wanted it, you know. And after that, for about maybe a year and a half, I slipped into a deep depression. And it's like after that, everything, when the pandemic hit, everything just collapsed. I had to cancel all my shows, and you know, I wasn't getting any callbacks about anything. Everything kind of just went downhill from there. And I decided at that moment that I don't want to feel this way about myself anymore. I started beating myself up. I started feeling like I wasn't good enough. Everything negative that he would say to me, I would just hear it play in my mind over and over again, how I wasn't good enough, you know, and I started to believe it. And when you have someone saying negative things to you every day, you know, you start to believe that about yourself. And so I decided that I'm going to take charge of my life. So I started going to therapy. I started learning different coping mechanisms, and because I was suffering from depression and anxiety. And then after that, there was an app called Savelo that I would use, and it has like different exercises that will help me throughout the day until I go to my next counseling session. And then I end up getting a life coach, assigned to a life coach. Anytime that I need to talk, then I can message them in the middle of the night. The next day they'll get back to me. So the therapy and the life coach, hand in hand, they help. And another thing that helped me on my self-love journey is I got a journal, and I wrote everything in that journal. Good day, bad day. I cried. I blocked him on everything. Anything that reminded me of him, I got rid of it. And then I wrote out a list of affirmations. I wrote a list out of everything that made me amazing, all the great attributes that I loved about myself. And I read them off to myself every morning that I would get up. I would read them to myself. And I would pray every day before my day got started. And I burned incense and plantain sticks around the house, just to set the mood and calm me. Just different techniques that I use to get myself back on my self-love journey. And now, 4 months later, I started getting gigs again. And I started glowing. I started feeling good about me. I noticed that my attitude started changing. And I saw him when I went to an event, and I felt nothing. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any hurt. I didn't feel any anger. I felt so powerful. I went from walking in feeling small with my head down to walking with my head held high and feeling good about me. And then seeing that his jaw dropped. When he saw me, it was like, whoa. And it's like, yes, enjoy all this fabulousness. Yes, all this. You will never experience this ever again. But it felt good because now I'm in a good place in my life, and God is blessing me because I learned to let go, and I did the work, and I took the time to truly just heal and cry, do whatever I could to just get rid of all these toxic negative feelings and emotions. And I just learned to just be at peace and center myself. And so that's how I have regained my self-love. And self-love is a never-ending journey. You're going to constantly be learning how to love yourself and new ways to improve your attitude. It's a never-ending journey. But then I know that I'm better than I am 6 months ago. And I know that I never want to go back to that place ever again. And so that's why I'm saying that if I was in that dark place and I made it out, you can definitely make it out. You have the power to do that. And so I am going to close with 2 Maya Angelou statements. There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. And we delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty. All right, that's my time. I am Danny Sky, and I just discussed my self-love journey. Like I said, I hope that I inspired someone and that you're uplifted and motivated by my story. And just know that you got this, all right? And if no one told you today, I love you, and you're just dope, amazing, and fabulous, all right?
Despise not small beginnings. I know you've heard that before, but what I want to tell you now in this time to level up is that you just gotta begin. There is a scripture that is in the Old Testament, and it's in the book of Zechariah, and it's in the 4th chapter, verse 10. And it's in the book of Zechariah, and it's in the 4th chapter, verse 10. And at the very end, it says that Jesus rejoices when the work began. So what can I say to you? I want to share with you my 3-year journey. About 3 years ago, if not a little bit longer than that, I was in the middle of a church service and my pastor was preaching. And in the middle of him preaching, as he was preaching and bringing forth words of encouragement and inspiration, I heard these words: take your dream off of the shelf and dust it off. I was like, whoa. I knew that I had many dreams, but he said, take your dream off the shelf and dust it off. And when I heard that, it lit up something in me. My dreams, they started becoming alive. Now, my confidence was not high. I was still dealing with low self-esteem, wondering if I really fit in. So it didn't happen all of a sudden. But as I said, this 3-year journey, what would I do? I would begin to think, what can I do? I knew that there was more in me. I knew that I had something to contribute to the earth. And so what do? I began to do my little shopping, right? And inspiration. I would send out inspirational posts through social media. Yes, I would send a scripture and I would send words of encouragement, but there was always this theme, and the theme was coffee. Beautiful coffee cups, aroma pictures coming from the cups of coffee. And so, what a perfect way to begin a journey of something that I love and passionate about and definitely enjoy. And that's a great cup of coffee. But as I began to put my dream into action, I took it off of the shelf and I dusted it off. And I put my dream to action. And I basically caused it to grow some feet. And I began to put my faith to work. Now, for me, all I kept hearing was coffee cups. I have dozens and tons of coffee cups, different themes of coffee cups. And so if anyone ever wants to give me a gift, what do they bring me? They bring me a coffee cup for sure. And so what I would do thrift store shopping, and I would just, pick up a cup and I would like, Lord, cups? And I began to gather cups. I began to gather them. I had them piled up in my kitchen. I had them piled up at work. They were just cups, cups, cups. But again, despise not the small beginning. Now, of course, we're all in social media. 3 years ago, we were just really beginning to understand and doing the Facebook Lives. And yes, we were catching ourselves and coming on and giving words of encouragement and inspiration. And one of the things I thought is that, hey, why not have a Facebook Live? Now, I wasn't really crafted at it. I didn't really know how to do it or how to structure it. But I said, listen, I want to have conversation. Now, what I want you to do is have this vision in your mind. Close your eyes and let me bring it to your mind. You walk into a coffee shop or a coffee store, and what do you smell but the robust aroma of coffee? You hear the clacking, you hear the ding of the saucer, the cup and the saucer and the spoon as it taps on the side. You hear the chatter, the conversation, and all of this. And in the background, you hear the steam coming up from the coffee pots. And yes, that robust aroma. And when you open your eyes, you see individuals sitting all around the tables. What are they doing? they're having their conversation. It could be a girlfriend's morning out. It could be the men getting together with their buddies. It could be a business collaboration, or it could be just you and another individual sitting there coming up with your business ideas. So here comes Coffee Conversation with Sandy. Yes, on my Facebook Lives. And what an opportunity for me to be able to share and come forth with my dream. Never in a million years did I think that I would be a talk show host. I am Sandy Sanders, yes, the founder of Coffee Conversation with Sandy and Friends. I've become an author. I am a best-selling author, a motivational speaker, and yes, I have this conversation platform where that is now for authors, visionary authors, inspiring authors. And it is a platform that came out of me letting the Lord, or sharing with the Lord and saying to the Lord, Lord, I'm an author. And no one knew that I was an author. And I didn't know how to collaborate. I didn't know how to connect. So what did I do? I used the platform myself and said, hey, this is how we get the word out. This is how others will know about the anthology that I'm personally in. But in that, it wasn't all about me. It was so that we could make a platform for inspiring authors, visionary authors. And so when I became a co-author of an amazing bestseller, a number one bestseller on Amazon, what did my visionary author, Kern Crockett Cherry, say to me? Hey, you've got a show. And I was like, what? Me? I have a show? And we want to bring the book and the authors on your show. You all, I was in, my feelings were outside of my body. I was like, yes. Didn't tell her that. But I was like, really? And she says, yes, you got a talk show. What am I saying? Point number one, you never know who's watching. Okay? You just never know. So what can I say to you? Don't despise the small beginnings. Get up, do it, be consistent, see your dream, whether it's for one person, whether it's for 10 people, whether it's for 100 people, whether it's for 1,000 people. But you never know who is watching. And it is because she said to me, you have a show. I didn't never think what I was doing considered as a show. It was a conversation. I took my love for coffee and my ability and just love to have a conversation with people, to know what's going on, share with me what's happening with you. And it becomes a dialogue. And that's where it all started. So someone believed in me. And when they believed in me, then it took my confidence up to a higher level. And so now here we are 3 years later. It is a platform. It is growing, and it is a platform where authors do come on, visionary authors. In our interviews, definitely it is growing. It is reaching over 1,500 plus individuals that are watching. They're reaching, they're engaging in watching the authors and the co-authors and the family and the friends. And what is that? How is that? It is because I did not despise my small beginnings. Here is what I want to say to you. You have a product and someone else has a product. And their product and your product together can come in and be a collaboration. Yes, I am one that says from the top of the mountain this year is that I am my sister's keeper. And whatever it will take to help bring you up to a new level. I was that individual that never thought that she had enough to bring to the table, at least on the surface. And the reason is because my self-esteem was not where it was. I was broken. And I didn't believe in myself. But yet, in my times of despair, there was something inside of me. Yes, I would listen to others be empowered and give inspirational messages, and I would grab nuggets from that. But when I heard the message, and it was as if it was talking directly to me, is to take your dream off of the shelf and dust it off. And when I heard that, I began to put my faith to work, and my dreams, they developed legs, believe me. And so that's what I want to say to you today. In leveling up, don't despise that small beginning. Yes, someone is watching. Someone is wanting to be there to help you or to encourage you or to empower you. And number two, as we said, is that someone is watching you. So what can I say is that it is time to level up. Just begin. It doesn't have to be perfect. That breaks away the whole myth. You grow, you mature in your business. Someone has a need for what you have to offer. It may not be a talk show host, but your product, whatever it is, there is definitely a need. I am Sandy Sanders. It has been such a delight to be a part of Level Up Summit. I do want you to reach out to me at any time. You can reach me on Facebook with Sandy Sanders, or you can reach me through my other platforms, which is Coffee Conversation with Sandy and Book Talks with Sandy. I can be reached or visit my website, which is www.coffeeconversationswithsandy.com. Listen, it has been amazing. Never, never, never despise that small beginning. And remember, someone is watching you. Take care and enjoy the conference.
Hello, everyone. I am Aretha Ford Metz, and I am so happy and excited to be a part of the Level Up Summit Conference. This is an awesome event filled with wonderful speakers, and I am so excited to be one of them. Just a little bit about me. I'm Aretha Ford Metz. I am a wife. I am an entrepreneur. I love to crochet, and journaling, diaries is something that I love to do. Did you used to keep a journal or a diary back in the day? I did, and I loved it because as a teenager and a young adult, it had everything in there that I wanted to do or to become. I had such an illuminating light within me that I could conquer the world and do whatever I set out to do. And it all was recorded in my diary. But then we go on with life. Are y'all still with me? We went on with life. We went on off to college and met all types of people. We're in the world now, and then we're having a ball, and then we're enjoying everything. And the diary or journal got kind of pushed to the side or lost or left at mom's house. And we go on, we fall in love, we start dating and courting and, finding out who we are and what we are and our likes and dislikes and having a ball. Did you have a ball like in your 20s and 30s? Yeah, I did too. And, I ended up falling in love with somebody. We end up dating. We end up moving in together. We end up saying we're going to build a life with one another. someone I gave my whole entire everything to. I loved when they smiled. I loved seeing them happy. I learned to cook. I learned to clean because, we still in our 20s and 30s and we didn't do those things. We partied, or some of us lived at home still. But when we fall in love with somebody, we give them everything. All of us, ladies, all of us. Do you? I know I have. Have you? Yeah, that's what we do. That's how we built. And we give and we give and we give. In that journal of our illuminating light way back when, we don't even know where it is. What journal? Yeah, I had something like that back in the day, but I'm in love right now. I'm out shopping, buying gifts for him and everything, and then he pops the question and we got the ring and we saying yes to the dress and life is just going on. And we looking, it's been like 5, 8, 10 years now. No journal in sight, but we got love. And there's nothing wrong with love. Love is an awesome thing. It really is. I love love. Do you love love? Yes, it's wonderful. But we lost ourselves in the midst of loving others. We done had children, got married, making big purchases, our first car, our house together, furniture, stuff we're doing together, family vacations, honeymoons, second honeymoon, anniversaries. We looking around now, it's 15, 20 years later from when we first wrote that journal of all the things that we wanted to be, to become, the illuminating light that we had within us now has dimmed over the years because we put others before we put ourselves first. We do. I have. I still do at times. Do you? Yeah, I know. We got caught up and our journals got left back and we forgot who we wanted to be. Who is she? Can you tell me? Get a piece of paper and journal and write it down. We can start a new journal now. Who are you? What did you want to do? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to become? Because we've lost ourselves in love. And this is where what I become, because I did lose myself in love. I lost myself in love so much that I did not see what was about to hit me. And what hit me was the lies, deceit, and betrayal from my husband over the years of us dating, engagement, and marriage. I was so wrapped up in the whirlwind of love that my journal or diary of who I wanted to be didn't just get put on the back burner. It was gone. I can't tell you where it is because I can't tell you where I am because she got in love, seeing and making others happy, that she forgot to love herself. So I started a podcast because from the violations of my husband's lies, deceit, and betrayal made me start questioning, why am I allowing such mental, physical, and spiritual pain to come from someone that I gave my all to? Women, we love hard. We love strong. We're loyal. We're dedicated. We go over and beyond the call of duty, and the love is not reciprocated back to us. Some of us are living in marriages and love and relationships where the love languages aren't even nowhere close to one another. The things that you wanted for yourself is nowhere in the relationship that you're in. I birthed Mishandled, which is my podcast of my husband's lies, deceit, and betrayal, and how the violations of these things affected me mentally. Mentally, because now that all the pieces of our year journey, our many, many years journeys are coming together. When I got flowers, I wasn't getting them because that he loved me. It was because he had just spent the night with someone else. When I received a gift, it's not because. It was because he loved me. I don't know. Only he knows the truth. But see, when you fall in love and you get wrapped up and you forgot yourself, there's a yin to the yang sometimes. I got a just because gift because he bought a gift for the new one that I knew nothing about. The physical violations. Some of us are being hit. Black eyes, broken bones, a loose jaw, tooth falling out, cracked tooth. Some of us physical violations are STDs, diseases being brought home. Some a pill can take care of, some a pill cannot. But you know that you're faithful and loyal. You know you're not out doing anything. So where is this coming from? There's only one other person in the relationship. But we still stay and accept it. We may not even talk about it. We just get the pill and we go on. And then there's spiritual violation that comes from it. God, why? God, how? I don't believe this. We stood before you and we vowed to one another. How could this be happening? I'm a faithful, dedicated, Bible going, Bible reading, praying person. And this is happening. I know it says that we women, we bend, but we don't break. Let me tell you, I was broken. I was broken into many shattered pieces. Many shattered pieces. I didn't just bend. I bend so much that I ate. I bent so much that I had a stroke. From violations, from someone who said that they loved me. And I thought love don't supposed to hurt. But ladies, we sit in it. We sit in it and we take it. Or some of y'all sitting in it and you're taking it. And you forgot all about that diary that you wrote way back when. I'm sure those things weren't in your diary. Because we always want the best for ourselves. But then life happens. And what we want the best for ourselves becomes the best for someone else. Someone else is sometimes not even worthy of what we're giving. But we're caught in the investment that we made with someone else. That we forget the most important investment, ourselves. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that. But you know, you can come out of there. I know right now some of you maybe are like, Aretha, you are so on point. You feeling like you are at the bottom of the barrel. You got the world on your shoulders. Aretha, nobody really talks about it or knows what I'm going through. Aretha knows. Aretha's been there. Aretha's come out of it. Aretha's here to help you too. Come out of it. Go back to your diary. Go back to the illuminating light that's buried somewhere within you, deep down in there. It's still there. It is. Do you know that it says and it's written? Don't forget all of those mental abusive words that they say that you're no good. You're uneducated. You're not pretty enough. You're not built right. You're not. All those words that the one that says that they love you, who name you carry, who child you have bared, tells you about yourself. There's another book that's out there that says that you, lady, are more precious than rubies. There's another book out there that says that he that finds a wife finds blessings and favor. Who's the blessing and favor? You. So why are you allowing them to mishandle you in such a matter? Find yourself, lady. Become that light that's deep inside of you. Go back and find that light that you wrote in that journal, because it's there. It's in you. That illuminating light. It's time for you to level up, to come out of that barrel. There's a light, a beam of light that's shining through, and that beam of light is tapping you on your shoulder, saying, hey, you've been through some things, but you are not those things that you've been through. I have purpose and destiny for you. It's time for you to absorb that light that's beaming through that crack in that barrel that you're in. It's time for you to get all of that energy, soak it in, because there's a plan for you. It's time for you to stand up, to level up, to illuminate. Because just like I'm standing here and I'm talking to you about what I've been through, it's a purpose inside of you to stand bold and courageously, to level up and give your story. I'm here. I have a podcast and I have a tribe where I talk about boldly and courageously of how I went through all the violations and how I got through all the violations. I release it, I mend from it, and now I stand before you glowing from it. It's not too late. You too can glow. You too can release it, mend from it, and glow forward into your future. I am Aretha, the podcast host and creator of Mishandled. And I would love for you to join me in my tribe of women who have been there where you are, giving unconditional love to someone who violated us mentally, physically, and spiritually. But we have overcome. We are the light, and so are you. Join me at Mishandled. We're on all podcast platforms.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Bryant Johnson, and welcome. Welcome. I am your personal development coach here to help you get unstuck and live the life that you would love to live. We are talking about 3 ways heart-centered, ambitious women like you can level up today. I'm so excited. I'm so excited because, first of all, congratulations. I want you to just stand up, give yourself a hug, be excited because you are here to take action. And I want you to remember 3, 2, 1. So we're going to talk about 3 ways that you can level up. I'm going to give you 2 specific actions to take. And then the whole goal, the one goal, is for you to level up and to be ready to level up today. 3 ways heart-centered, ambitious women can level up today. So that's what we're talking about. I'm your personal development coach, certified in emotional and intelligence and insights, and definitely a certified beach comber. I love the beach. Can't wait for any opportunity to get to the beach to unwind, and so should you. That is very important for what we do to live the life that we love. So imagine if everything that you want, it's at your fingertips. Your business is booming. You feel good about it. You don't have the self-talk of, I can't do this, or it has to be perfect in order for me to get things done. But you are getting it done. You're getting unstuck. And you are living the beautiful life that you deserve and that you desire. Well, we're here today to talk about just that, getting stuck and over and achieve the life that you would love. And it really begins with how we think, our mindfulness, and how are we operating within. We want to be aware, we want to awaken, and we want to awe our clients. So what is mindset all about? So it really does equal awareness. I know people who are fabulous at their jobs and what they do, but they tend to not be aware of other areas that's going on around them. So the key is to be able to tune in and be aware of what's happening that will help influence and make you better at what you're offering your clients. So as a woman thinketh, so is she. So I'm tweaked that a little bit because actually the scripture is, as a man thinketh, so is he. So we just took a slight liberty. We'll pray for forgiveness for that. But since our focus is focusing on you, the ambitious woman, it starts with how you think of yourself and what the self-talk that you're giving or listening to on a daily basis. It must be positive. And we all do it, and we all feel that those moments of insecurity, but we cannot stay there. We have to get unstuck. We have to be aware of what we're saying to ourselves. So have you ever noticed, so I love movies. Some of my favorite movies, Hitch, Legally Blonde, Coming to America, It's a Wonderful Life, The Wizard of Oz. And I'm sure you have seen these movies or have certainly heard of them, and they come on frequently on the networks. But what I've noticed is that, one, they come on frequently, but they all also have a common theme. And the common theme is they want to be better, but they feel some form of insecurity and they get stuck. But when they make a decision to change, to do something differently, that's when that transformation happens. So getting unstuck. Why are we stuck? What is it that we're stuck on? So perfectionism, and I raised my hand because I dealt with that for a long time. Everything has to be perfect in a certain way. Procrastination, putting things off to the last minute. Someone says if it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would ever get done. Fear, imposter syndrome, saying, do I deserve to be here, or is this for me? and then taking risks. Those are the type of thoughts and things that keep us stuck. So world famous author and researcher Brene Brown says, perfectionism is a 20-ton shield that we lug around thinking it will protect us, when in fact, it's the thing that really is preventing us from taking flight. So we need to forget perfectionism. And I'm here to tell you, that was me. Everything had to be a certain way, certain colors, in certain order. But you know what? When you're getting started and when you're doing things, it's okay. It may be messy, it may be difficult, but you have to begin. You can't just stay where you are. And so we have to get unstuck. And so we have to get past the procrastination, get past the fear. Yes, it can be fearful, but it can be uncomfortable. Think of an airplane when the jet is taking off and you're ascending. It may get bumpy, but you're going higher. You're reaching higher heights. So we need to not stay in that place. I wanted to share with you. I love this source, the Little Pink Book, and it's actually an empowerment organization for women, and they host C-suite executives twice a year, and questions are asked of them. What makes you so successful? What are you fearful of, or what keeps you up at night? And they said they have those feelings too, the imposter syndrome and the fear, and want things perfect. But the difference in how they've been successful is that they take action and they take risk. They are willing to take that next step. They're not stuck. And so what I'm here to help and serve you is getting unstuck. So that's the key. We have to be willing to take the risk and take the action. And that's what I've had to do for me. I would be stuck on perfectionism. So as a level up opportunity, a tip, I have just for you a special gift for you to just download. If you go to michellebryantjohnson.com, click on Empower Me, and download my free gift to you. So this is totally free. It's 7 affirmations that will empower you, 1 for each day, and then you can repeat it. And this can remind you of the wonderful, amazing, phenomenal person that you are. So that's my gift to you. So you don't have to go right now. We have more to talk about. So we talked about mindset. So now we're going to start talking about mindfulness, where we have to awaken our inner being, connect, silence the noise, and then awaken. Tim Story is a favorite of Oprah, and he's also a minister. And he says, during challenging times, toxic thoughts can drag us into a mindset that is mundane, messy, and mad. It's time to start claiming your miracle mentality. So what is that? Awaken your miracle mentality. So do you remember when you were a child and everything was possible? You wanted to, whatever you dreamt, yes, life was possible. But the challenge is, as you got older, that's when the fear started. People started saying, no, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, or do you know what's that? If you do that, this is going to happen. So what we need to do is awaken that inner mentality that we had as children where we were fearless, basically. Okay. And then in addition to that, and I know that we have a lot to cover in a short period of time, and we can connect in the future later, but something else is very important to awaken your inner soul too is drink plenty of water. You want to walk, wind down, meditate, and journal. And here is another level up tip for you that you can take advantage of. I love these apps, the Calm app and the Headspace. You've probably heard about these already, but these are wonderful apps for meditation or for quiet time, because you need to silence the noise that's in your head and that's around you. So it's so important to do that. And then the third part is in order to awe your clients, you again need to take care of yourself. Your presence, your polish is important. How you present yourself, it matters. You want to awe your clients. Again, presence and polish. So I talked about movies earlier. I love movies. So again, these are some of the movies, some of my favorite: The Devil Wears Prada, Baps, Second Act, and Pretty Woman. And again, all of these have special, common themes. And people in these movies want to level up, or they make references, or they research, or they study to be better, from where they were. Within, they have greatness, but again, they have to take the step to make the change that they want to see. So the level up tip for you today about all your clients. So when we get back into a world where we can dine and be with clients and friends and family, what I've noticed is in my professional life, I have a corporate background, and I'm around people who are very talented, smart, have, make a lot of money, but there are certain things that they still don't do. And it can make a difference when all things are equal, certain things on how you present yourself and your polish. So in the dining experience, and I'll just take this as an example, I'm always fascinated when I see people doing it not according to protocol. And so I want to give you a tip about eating bread. How you eat bread is the quickest way people can tell who do know. If you don't eat it, if you don't do it according to the protocol, they can tell what you know. And so just a quick tip, bread is a finger food. And so I have a piece here. And so what you want to do is break a piece of the bread, and you can eat it or put a condiment on it. You don't cut bread, you don't slice it. You can break it and then take a bite. Okay, so when you're out with your clients, a potential client, if someone said, they present bread to you, at least you'll know how to eat the bread, because that is a giveaway. If you don't eat that correctly, people will know. And I see it all the time. People, first thing they do is go to a knife and cut it. And so first of all, you never cut bread. So that's my tip there. So covering, reviewing what we said, mindset equals your awareness, mindfulness is your awakening. And then of course, for me, you want to awe. So that's when you're taking steps to invest in yourself. Aware, awaken, awe. And so I know our time is short, but what you can do is to level up today. I can help you get unstuck, and you can do it, actually get started as soon as in a weekend. So I have 7 ways for you to get unstuck and grow your business. It's an e-course. You can do it in the comfort of your home, or you can go away and focus and concentrate. But again, go to michellebryantjohnson.com, click level up, and you can get it done in a weekend. I'm so delighted and so excited for you. Give this is a gift to you to invest in the e-course. So we are so excited, and I hope to see you soon.
Hey there, hey there, hey there, SuccessCon. This is your girl, Dr. Avis, your media monetization mentor, and I am so excited to be here today to give you a brief training on how to turn media into money. Now, why might you be interested at all in turning media into money? Well, here is the real deal about why I want to teach this to you and why it's so important, and then I will jump right into the training. Now, listen, it is no secret that we are undergoing a dramatic shift in our economy. And many of us are having to start all over from scratch with building something new, just in order to be able to augment our income and be able to have some sense of foundation there in case we experience a job disruption. Some of us are looking to grow what we already have to the next level. Some of us are looking to save what we have in terms of our business, given the shifts and twists and turns that we've had in terms of what we would have called normalcy prior to this horrible pandemic that has engulfed the world and has specifically made life particularly difficult for us here in the United States. And so at this time, it's probably more important than ever to understand how to navigate, how to shift, how to be able to create financial abundance through your own business, but do it in a way that aligns with the new normal that we are experiencing right now with the reality of COVID. And let me tell you, media is the key. How do I know that? Because I have been through a situation that I'm sure millions have experienced or are experiencing right now. You know, it wasn't that long ago, a few years back, where I found myself having to step away from what I thought at the time was my dream job. You know, I don't know if any of you have ever had the experience where you've been in a very, situation that seems very prestigious from the outside, something that you thought that you wanted. But when you get there, you find out that all that glitters is not gold. In fact, you find out that there are some situations going on that are potentially damaging to your own professional reputation, that are dangerous, that are unethical, perhaps even. And you have to make a decision about whether or not you want to sort of ride that out and hope that things turn out okay or leave. I made the decision when I was faced with such a decision to leave. Now, no, in this particular circumstances, many people are not even having the decision about whether or not they want to leave. Many people, unfortunately, are having that decision made for them. But regardless of how you get there, if you don't have a job, you don't have a job, right? So I found myself for the first time in my life without a job, without a new one that was waiting for me. Previous to that, I had done the normal career trajectory, right? Where you leave one job after you've already gotten the next job and you just wait to roll right into the next one. Well, this wasn't going on this time. This was the first time that I was really fully unemployed and did not know where my next check would come from. And I found myself in that situation also in a very sort of precarious moment in my life. I have to tell you, I clean up pretty good, but I have to tell you, I'm not a super duper, high maintenance person at all. If I would have had to, basically couch surf until I found my next job, I would have been willing to do that if I was by myself. But I wasn't by myself. I had my 2 young boys with me after recently experiencing a divorce. And so for me, the ability to make it, to find a way to make it, was not just an issue of me being okay. It was an issue of me being able to create a life that would make sure that my boys were okay. And not only be able to give them a minimal level of existence. Okay? I wanted to be able to create for them a lifestyle on this now one income that really wasn't there yet, but I knew I could make it happen at some point that would be commensurate to what they had experienced at a minimum when they had two incomes coming into the household. So here I am with zero incomes coming into the household. And what do I do to face that moment and turn the situation around? Well, I have to tell you, I did a little soul searching and self searching. I did a little revenue examination of my assets. And when I'm saying assets right now, I'm not even talking about monetary assets. I'm talking about my professional skills. I'm talking about my professional connections. I'm talking about what it was that I had in my head that I could turn into money. Monetizable skills, monetizable connections. And so it came to me that though I had been a daughter of a successful entrepreneur in my entire life, admired him and loved on him, I was seriously a daddy's girl, right? I had never really quite understood how I could create that reality in my life in terms of owning my own business. I was on the straight and narrow career trajectory. I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't know how. You know, it's funny how life turns out, because even though I did not know how I would do it, when I found myself in that situation, I knew I must do it. And so I took that personal accounting of my assets. And I thought to myself, self, you have a great deal of skills that people who you know could use in their businesses. You could at least start as a consultant. You could at least start perhaps as a speaker, right? And that became the beginning of my business. So when I started along this path and I got my first client, I said, okay, this is good. This is enough to at least give me a lifeline so that I have some income coming into the house. But it was nowhere near where I needed to be in order to be able to create the same standard of living for my two boys that they had when I was married to their father. And so I knew I need to accelerate the level of income that was coming into my business. And I knew I had to do it quickly. And then I started to think even more big. I thought about my experience as the daughter of an entrepreneur. And I thought about the fact that because my father, who had just a second grade education and grew up in the Jim Crow South, was able to grow a business that was so successful, it allowed me to go to college completely debt-free, all the way up to a PhD. I started to say, what if I could build a business that could do the same things for my son? What if the goal is not just to match two incomes in the household that we used to have? What if the goal was to accelerate this business and grow it to such a level that my children could ultimately go to college debt-free? And so when I set those goals, I started to think about what could I do to make my business not just survive this precarious moment? What could I do to make sure my business could thrive? And I thought about another asset that I had in my back pocket that I had not yet used. And I want to tell you, this asset made all of the difference in my business, and it did make the business. This asset helped me explode my consulting business at the time, helped me gain major corporate clients, helped me gain major 5-figure speaking engagements over and over again. What was this asset? This asset was my experience in the media. You see, when I worked previously, as a nonprofit executive, I had the wonderful opportunity at many times to interact with the media and talk about some of the great things that our nonprofit was doing, or talk about some of the research that we came out with. And so I had utilized media often in that particular circumstance as a nonprofit executive. I had been on television, been on radio. I had published in many spheres. I had been quoted in some of the most major newspapers in the nation and around the globe. So I had been on CNN. I had been in USA Today and the Washington Post. I had been on NPR and SiriusXM Radio. And I thought, what if I tapped into the media and in essence used it as a marketing tool for my business and my brand? And that's exactly what I did. In the first 9 months of my business, it grew well beyond the six-figure space. In fact, exceeding my previous nonprofit executive salary. In fact, ultimately matching the two incomes. And today, it's been able to grow exponentially to a major, not only high multi-six-figure business for myself, but also I've been able to teach these skills to clients who have been able to use it to explode their businesses too. Clients making six figures, for example, in 60 days. Clients, for example, who coming in from Jumpstart, making $7,000, $14,000, $20,000 in 7 days. It is incredible what this can do when you understand the power of this technique and you put it to use for your business. And so I want to share with you today exactly those 5 things that you must have in place in order to turn media into money. So with that said, let's get started. Thing number 1 that you have to have in place is you must be an expert. Let me tell you, media platforms, I don't care what platform you're talking about. It could be television, it could be radio, it could be podcast, it could be publications. Whatever you're talking about, media platforms really are very careful about who they allow on their platforms. They really want to expose their audience to the best. They want to expose their audience to individuals who know what they're talking about confidently, assuredly, who are specifically experts at what they do, and not merely people who kind of sort of maybe know what they do, right? And that's why you have to claim the mantle of expert status. Now, what I have found is that oftentimes, and especially for us sisters, we have a hard time with that word expert. We may have done a thing well for 20 years, but we don't want to call ourselves an expert. We may have written books on a thing that have been bestsellers, but we don't want to call ourselves an expert. We may be teaching people right now under us how to do that thing each and every day, but we don't want to call ourselves an expert. What I want to tell you is that nobody's going to call you an expert until you call yourself an expert first. You have to claim expert status. You don't wait for anybody else to bestow that upon you. And that is the very first and most fundamental prerequisite that you have to have in place in order to attract the media attention that you need, especially right now, to separate you from everyone else who kind of sort of does something like you. But we all know that you do how you do with your special flavor. So it's not exactly like you. But if you want to distance yourself from the rest, give you and your business and your brand instant authority. Be seen as the leader in your space. Media does it for you. Absolutely. Media is the fast track to that. But the first thing you have to have before you get those media yeses is you have to have expert status, and you have to claim it yourself first. So know that you are an expert, number 1. Number 2, you must understand to your bones that all media is not good media. Now, I know you've probably heard that before, A lot of people say that. All media is good media. Well, maybe if your goal is to be famous, that is true. All media is good media. But that ain't our goal now, is it? Our goal is to make sure that you are strategically using the media in order to grab the right leads to your business that you can then turn into money. And so that's why all media is not good media. If you will have access to media that's not putting you in front of those right people, then you are wasting your time. And as the CEO of your business, the most valuable asset that you have is your time. And so it's very important that you understand that all media is not good media. Strategic media is good media. And that's something that I help my clients decipher each and every day. Step 3. You must know where your ideal customers go in order to consume information. Here's what I know for sure. In this new COVID reality, people are spending more time than ever consuming media. More people than ever are watching television. More people than ever are reading publications. More people than ever are listening to podcasts and listening to the radio. Which one of those different types of platforms are your customers most likely to be on? And within those broader platforms, what specific shows are they most likely to listen to or watch? Or what specific publications are they most likely to read? When you think about where your ideal customer spends their time consuming information, do you even realize how powerful it would be for them to be able to go to those spaces that they already trust, that they already know, that they already enjoy, and find you staring right back there at them? How important and how powerful that would be for your business and your brand. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when I said you need to be strategic about your media. Show up in those places where your customers already are. Number 4, you got to know how to get past the gatekeepers. Hello. You have to know how to get past the gatekeepers. Now, here's something I need to let you know about the media. Yes, they're gatekeepers, and they're not all the same gatekeepers. Let's just say that, okay? So if you're talking about trying to get on television, radio, podcasts, you're typically going to be working with producers. They are the gatekeepers. If you're talking about getting in a publication, the editors are typically the gatekeepers. In essence, these are the people with that red velvet rope, kind of like a red velvet rope that we have oftentimes seen, like if you go into that hot club and it's that red velvet rope there and there are people lined up out the door and they let some people in and they leave some people out. Well, these gatekeepers are in essence like the person with that red velvet rope. There's an abundance of people who want to show up in the media, but they are the ones who decide, who am I going to let in? Who am I going to keep out? Now, you need to know how to get past them. And how do you do that? You get past them by writing a killer perfect pitch. And that's something that I help people with all of the time. In fact, I have a free class that I do on that, a masterclass, the Perfect Media Pitch Masterclass that I offer periodically. And I have the next one coming up in a matter of days, okay? You can find out more about that and attend this free class by going to perfectmediapitch.com. Get your information and sign up now. Perfectmediapitch.com. We walk you through the process over the course of 5 days, step by step, around how you can develop your perfect pitch. And by the end of that presentation of all of those days, your perfect pitch will be fully crafted, and you can take that and pitch it to the platform or platforms of your choice. That is how you get through the gatekeepers. And that is my gift to you right now, of free access to that training so that you can create your perfect pitch. And number 5, you must understand that when you have that perfect pitch together, you have to follow up. Follow up is king. Here is what I know for sure. producers and editors, they get tons of emails. They do get tons of pitches all the time. So what I want to tell you right now is when you craft that perfect pitch, send it. But if you don't hear back from them within the next 48 hours, send it again. Send them a reminder. Say, hey, I want to push this to the top of your inbox. Oftentimes they just don't see it. So don't give up. Keep showing up. Those are my 5 tips for you that will help you understand how to turn media into money. Listen, we have been able to see tremendous outcomes, not only for me, because I could tell you about how much money I made, and I know a lot of people like to do that. But what's more important to me is to see the examples of my clients whose businesses have taken off because they understand the concept, especially right now, of how to put their businesses in front of their customers, the right people right now, exactly when we have a captive audience of millions, specifically because of this COVID crisis. This is the best time right now to turn media into money. And I hope that's exactly what you do by following my 5 tips. This has been such an amazing opportunity to speak with you this afternoon. I hope that you have enjoyed it, and I hope that you take every bit of advice that I've given you to turn media into money for your business and your brand. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Take care, and I hope to see you at perfectmediapitch.com. Take care now. Bye.
I'm Kathleen Holt-White. Welcome to Strengthening Your Superpowers. When we hear the term superpowers, most of us think of fictional characters in comics, movies, or television. Those skills and talents like leaping over a building or seeing through brick walls. What are some of those others? Oh, superior healing and reflexes, right? Well, you have superpowers too. Your superpowers are your unique gifts and talents. The things that make you stand out, that you do better than most people, that seem to come naturally, they're already rooted inside you. Strengthening your superpowers can lead to discovering your unique path, ways that you can make a big impact in your life, your family, your business, your community, all while increasing your productivity and happiness. It's about tapping into them and unleashing them. What's one of your superpowers? Go ahead. It's a safe space. Add it to the chat. Don't be shy. It may be a hidden talent like your ability at organizing or something you're known for, like your knack to find just the right words to cheer someone up or make people laugh, or could even be your stylish flair. Strengthening your superpowers not only gives insight into who you are, it helps you harness your natural gifts and use them to propel you forward. It allows you to manage your time, your moments, your life by optimizing your best energy source, the source that comes from a higher power. Let's look at 5 steps to strengthening your superpowers. The first is getting clear about your values. Consider the things that matter most to you. It's about reconnecting to your purpose and your passion. It's about living firmly in your values. It leads to manifesting your destiny. Step into the life you were meant to live, the qualities you want to cultivate, what you want your life to stand for. Your values are principles that guide and motivate you. It's important to recognize that some values are core values. They're values that rarely change. Other values may shift over time based on the chapter of your life, new situations, or perspectives. Some values may be viewed as a means to an end. For example, some identify the value of financial security as highly important, but it's because it allows them to take care of other values like family or health. So family and health may be the core value. Financial security is a means to an end. Getting clear about your core values allows you to make decisions based on what's important to you, the daily choices that set the path for your journey. Add to the chat now 2 of your top values. 2 of them. I see you thinking. Remember that your values should reflect what's really important down to your core. Some people feel obligated to list values that have been passed down to them. My mother was a teacher. Her mother was a teacher. My grandfather was the first to graduate college. All my siblings have advanced degrees. I guess I should put wisdom down and personal development. Here's a tip. It's not about listing the values you think you should have. Some people focus so much on the values they think they should have that they end up shoulding all over themselves. Here's the point. It's about listing what's in your heart and what's in your spirit. Getting clear about your values allows you to focus on what matters most, helps you understand what motivates you, and helps you know how you want to use your gifts. Let's look at the second one. The second step for strengthening your values is to consider past experiences when you operated in your optimal zone and when you were way outside of your optimal zone. Consider past success first, a time that your superpowers were in full effect. You were performing at your peak, activating and functioning on all cylinders. You were in the power zone. We often hear athletes describe those moments as being in the zone, when their mojo kicks in, when they're able to tune out everything around them. They're performing at their highest level. They're smooth and effortless. Oh, it's magnificent to watch. Consider a moment like that for you, when it seemed as if the stars had aligned for you. Your universe seemed balanced and your mojo came through. You were on. I call those ta-da moments. I bet it was effortless. I know you were phenomenal. You were functioning in your power zone. Let's hear some of those now. Now consider what aspects of that moment made you feel successful. What was the magic formula that helped you find the zone? Add that to the chat. The goal is to consider what it looks like when you're winning and to get more of that. Now, it's also helpful to consider a time that the exact opposite was happening. We know that even the best athletes experience that. We've heard them describe it as a moment when nothing was really working, when they couldn't get in a groove. It just wasn't my day. Consider a time that you felt off-balanced and off-centered, out of sync, a time when you were nowhere near your zone. Think of an experience like that. You're better able to strengthen your superpowers when you recognize your own internal signs telling you when things are out of balance. I can recall a time in my corporate career when I felt absolutely passionate about my job and my ability to be creative. My efforts were recognized with a huge promotion. It meant more people reporting to me, more meetings, and less creativity. Others were congratulating me, viewed me as successful, but I didn't feel successful. My energy was zapped. I felt out of sync. I began taking things much too seriously. My worry plate kept me up most nights. Oh, yes, I could get the job done, and it appeared that I was doing well, but I was functioning outside of my zone. Here's the thing. I felt disconnected from my natural talents. I felt like I was experiencing a power outage. I learned from that experience. I learned that for me, success wasn't about having a big title with my name at the top. or having the big corner office. It was about being able to function on a regular basis in the zone. For me, that zone was creativity. It helped me recognize that creativity is one of my superpowers, and I needed to pursue more of that. So consider your moments of temporary power outages. Add that to the chat, a time when you felt you were experiencing your temporary power outage. We all have those moments when we feel things are out of sync from our purpose. Those moments of power outages, we know they're part of the journey. I believe those moments are here to teach us more about ourselves, our environment, and what we need to thrive. Let's consider another way to get closer to the strengths of our own superpowers. The third way is feedback from others. Often, we don't give ourselves enough credit for our superpowers. Well, if you really want to pulse check on how well you're walking your talk about the things you say that are important to you and broaden your perspective about your superpowers, here's what you could do. Select 5 people that really know you well. Ideally, people from different areas of your life. Some you've known for an extended period of time, and others you've known for a short time, but who know you well. Send them an email asking for insight. Have them write down what they perceive as most important to you, your values, your strengths, your talents, your superpowers, and ideas for using those more. Have them email that back to you. Then late one night, sit down with their 5 responses and a tall, stiff iced tea and take a look at what others who know you well say about your values and your superpowers. It's about getting clarity around the things you bring to the world, gaining perspective to further articulate your purpose and propel you forward. The 4th step to strengthening your superpowers is elevate your sense of self. Oh, this is my favorite one. Sometimes we get paralyzed due to fear, self-doubt, or negative self-talk. Elevating your sense of self allows you to reset and practice self-acceptance. Oh, it's easier said than done. But when you elevate your sense of self, you tap into your specialness. You step into the light that is yours. The outcome can be magical. Think of the things that make you unique, make you kooky, make you nerdy, your special weirdness, idiosyncrasies that make you, well, you. They just might reveal your passion and your calling. Instead of trying to change yourself to fit in, stand firmly in your light. Embrace it, own your light, own your superpower. Appreciate the things that make you different, those special things about yourself. Sometimes we work so hard to fit in that we step away from our actual giftedness, our superpowers. Elevating your sense of self can mean going against the grain. Through the lens of others, we may want to see ourselves that way, but that's not being authentic. We know social media will have us thinking you should be cooking up perfect gourmet meals, you and your partner dancing and matching outfits, and traveling to faraway places taking perfect pictures, all in the same week. Don't get caught up in false negatives, false narratives of what happiness should look like. Build your confidence and be unapologetic about who you are. They lead to a deeper well and your source of power. See yourself as you want your life to be and believe that you deserve all of it and more. Our past missteps and disappointments can make us hesitant to even want to try again. We often protect ourselves from the pain of disappointment. Some of us even just totally stop trying. It's as though our past limited thinking paralyzes us. Elevating your sense of self means being able to see yourself living the life you imagine. Psychologically, when we limit the way we think of ourselves, we put boundaries on our superpowers. We limit our abilities because we can't even visualize what's possible. It's like the goldfish theory. If you take a goldfish that's been in one of those tiny little goldfish bowls where he can only swim around and around and around that tiny little fake tree in that tiny little bowl, and you take that same goldfish out of the tiny little bowl and you put him inside a large, roomy aquarium with a treasure chest and a scuba diver, do you think he's going to stretch out and swim the whole aquarium? He won't. Instead, he'll continue to swim the exact same circumference that he had in that tiny little bowl, around, around, and around. Having more begins with changing the narrative. You are more than your past. You are more than your current circumstance. We enjoy when kids name many things they want to be when they grow up. The same should be true for us. Self-identity does not have an ending. It's a continuous process as we evolve. So shake off the labels. You get to redefine who you are now and who you're becoming. Change the stories you tell yourself about yourself. Studies show that simply changing your self-talk from negative to positive can lead to better health and lower rates of depression. Speak more life into your superpowers. Validate who you are, your giftedness, and who you're becoming. Let's try that right now. Put an I am statement in the chat. I am, and an affirmation. Make a daily commitment to articulate your I am statement to yourself. Add that to the chat now. Great. In fact, making a commitment and saying it out loud is another step to moving into your destiny. So say it out loud. Let me hear you try that right now. Let's hear your I am statements out loud. Oh yeah, I like the sound of that. The messages we tell ourselves get reinforced by the universe. Let's look at the fifth and final tip for today on strengthening your superpower. Be adventurous. Explore new things. Trying new things allows us to broaden our horizons and allows us to increase our joy. The exhilaration alters our very vibration and takes things up a notch. It helps you to be present in the moment, shifts your energy, and allows space for new ideas to flourish. These stretch moments are important. We know how it feels to stretch our bodies. In fact, I think we can use a stretch right now. That feels good. Well, the same is true for our spirits. Trying new things helps us to stretch and allows our brains to be rewired, creating new and stronger pathways. Be intentional about exploring things you find curiously fascinating. Ignite your creative spark. Seek new activities that help you feel inspired and connected to your source. New adventures allows us to stretch out of our comfort zone, broaden horizons, and practice vulnerability, embrace our imperfections, and build our courage. In fact, Arthur Brene Brown often mentions the benefits of choosing courage over comfort, emphasizing that growth in life and business results from making bold decisions. Trying new things helps build that resilience and fuels your power. So we looked at 5 steps to help you strengthen your superpowers. What's on your exploration list? Consider a new skill you've been wanting to learn or a new experience you've been wanting to try. It's said that goals without timelines are only dreams. So set a timeline and a specific plan for your adventure. Challenge yourself to try these new ways to strengthen your superpowers. It's about getting clear about your values, considering past experiences when you operated in the zone and when you didn't, receiving feedback from others, elevating your sense of self, and being adventurous, explore, and experience new things. Thanks for joining me today. I hope that you consider the ways you can elevate your life and move yourself forward. It's about leaning further into your purpose, setting bolder goals, transforming your life, cultivating what's already inside you. Change the trajectory of your life by gaining momentum in the direction of your dreams. Let's stay connected. Here's to strengthening your superpowers and achieving your goals.
Welcome. I'm Kern Cherry. I am an art speaker, coach, #1 best-selling author, entrepreneur for over 23 years. I've been serving in the healthcare field for over 30 plus years. And yes, I am Success co-founder and director. And I want to ask you, are you walking in your gifts? In the Bible, Matthews 25, 14 through 30, there's a master who actually is getting ready to go on a journey. But before he goes on his journey, he takes the time to call in 3 of his servants. And he takes the time to give his servants talents. The first servant, he gave him 5 bags of silver talents. Talents also mean money. And so he gave him 5 bags of silver talent. And then he gave the second one 2 bags of silver talents. And then the last one, he gave him 1 bag of silver talents. And he did that based off of their known ability. And so he told each one of them to go out and basically make him money. So on his return, he returns back, and the first servant comes in, happy, master, here's your money. And he actually doubled the money. So instead of 5 talents, he gives him 10 bags of talents. And the master's like, yes, well done, my servant. So you will be rewarded. We are going to celebrate. And so the next servant comes in, and he also doubles his. He had 2, now he has 4 bags of silver talent. Yes, yes, says the master. You will also be rewarded. And we're going to celebrate later. So then the third one comes in. And he says, Master, you know, I know you're harsh man. And I was afraid. Master. So I took the talent, I buried it in the backyard. And the master looks at him and says, you evil, lazy servant. So you're telling me that you didn't even take the talents that I gave you, the talent I gave you, and put it in the bank? No, sir. Give me that money. So he took the money and he gave it to the servant who already had 10 talents. And then he looked back at the servant and said, get out and I will deal with you later. And the punishment, as mentioned in the Bible, is extremely harsh. So he, yes, of course, celebrated the other ones. But if you notice, the one who sat on the talent was punished. Are you somebody sitting on your gifts, your talents? Or do you realize that at birth, you are given, you are born with natural talents and gifts and ability, which lies inside of you? You have gifts, you have talents. Are you using those? Have you ever wondered why people like Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, have you ever wondered why these people have reached their level of the money they have, billionaires? Have you ever thought about that? They tapped into their talent, and several did it at a young age. They figured out their natural gifting, their natural talents, and they are utilizing them. So are you that person who's not utilizing their talent, who has not woken that up? So I have a friend that told me, she talked to me one day about when she was working in the corporate world, working on the job, and she was living the life. Fabulous car, fabulous home, several black cars. Yes, I said the black card, right? She was living well, had been on her job long enough to retire. And then one day it was all gone. It was all taken away from her. And so she slipped in some depression, enough to where her family was concerned, asking, what are you going to do? How are you doing? It's going to be okay. And so anyway, she talks about her story, and she tells me that one day she just started creating stuff. She started creating art. I asked her, had you ever done it before? No, never created anything. And so she started creating art, and then she started creating beautiful jewelry like the one I'm wearing, and handmade leather bags, handmade leather shoes, all those things. I'm talking about all bottled up by Bree, my good friend Sabrina Starworth. That talent was woken up inside of her. It'd been there all along, but it had been stifled. And so therefore, she hadn't used it. And now, as you can see, she is walking in her gifting. Have you figured out what your natural born talent is? Have you figured out what you would do for free because you're passionate about it? You would do it for free. That thing that is unique to you. Have you tapped into your natural God-given talent? Proverbs 18:16 says, if you make room for your gift, your gift will make room for you. If you make room for your gift, the world will make room for your gift. Basically what I'm saying, if you utilize what your natural born gift is, you will be prosperous. You'll make money because it's your natural born gift. What better time than the time we're in now to utilize your gift? Doesn't matter if you're already in business or if you're working in the corporate world. We now have more time than we've ever had before. It is time for you to tap into your gift. It is time to tap inside of what's gifted inside of you, to take that seed and to work it for you. Because if you make room, if you utilize your gift, the world will make room for your gifting. It is time to walk in your gift. It is time to take the leap of faith and allow your gifting to bless you. It is time to let your gifting bless you and make you money. Now, I'm Kern Cherry. I am a coach. I teach people how to increase their visibility, especially with their gifting. And I teach people how to create their own event. My natural gifting. I've been doing events for over 15 plus years. As you can see with the conferences that I plan, such as Success Women's Conference, I am walking in one of my natural gifting as well. So you can find and contact me and book an appointment to talk to me at CoachKern.com. CoachKern.com. You can also get with me, as I am also doing a book project called Make It Happen. You can also go to CoachKern.com. You can find me on any social media platform as Kern Cherry or Kern Crockett Cherry. One of my favorites is LinkedIn. I always tell people, be on LinkedIn. It is one of the secrets in the social media. But you can also find me on Twitter, of course, Facebook, and Instagram, Pinterest, and many other platforms. I'm Kern Cherry, and I challenge you to walk in your gift.
Self-love means taking care of your own needs and not sacrificing your well-being to please others. Hey everybody, how you doing? My name is Danny Sky. I am a spoken word artist, 13-time self-published author, and CEO and founder of Monroe Entertainment LLC. So what I just quoted was the definition of what self-love is, which that is my topic for today, the self-love journey. Welcome to the Level Up Summit. Good morning. And I'm so excited to be a part of this summit. And you're gonna hear a lot of amazing speakers, and I'm one of them. So I'm very blessed and grateful to be on this platform to share my self-love journey with you. And I hope that this inspires and uplifts someone who is going through their self-love journey and maybe struggling a little bit. I thought that this is a very important topic to discuss, especially with the times that we are living in. And so, like I said, I just hope that my messages encourage you and inspire you today, and I'm going to get right into it. So, I'm going to start off with the 7 ways of practicing self-love. Then after that, I'm going to talk about my own personal journey with self-love, and then we're going to tie it in with 2 of my favorite Dr. Maya Angelou quotes. All right, let's get into it. All right, so 7 ways of practicing self-love. The first one is stop comparing yourself to others. Now, I can honestly say that I struggled with this for many years, comparing myself to other people, especially women in general. I'm speaking to the ladies. You know, we always compare ourselves to women based on how pretty they are, their bodies, and, you know, their careers, their popularity. The list just goes on and on. and you start feeling inadequate, like you're not good enough. But that is so far from the truth. And oftentimes when we're on our self-love journey, we always feel like we're not good enough in our own, everything in our lives just isn't enough. But the truth is, you are good enough, and where you are at in your life and everything that you have going for yourself, you're right where you're supposed to be. Oftentimes, you may not be where you want to be, but you're right where you are supposed to be. So do not compare yourself to others, because then it'll make you feel down and you start feeling depressed, and we don't want that. So that's the first key to practicing self-love. Don't look at what someone else is doing or how someone else's life is. It's easier said than done. I know. It's definitely easier said than done. But then you often have to realize that those people that you idolize and thinking that their life is so much better, 9 times out of 10, their life is really not better. It just appears that way. But then they may be going through their own self-love journey, and they may feel inadequate about themselves. They may feel like everything they have going for them is not good enough. And they may be comparing themselves to other people as well, but you would never know. So never compare yourself to someone else. Just be proud of who you are, where you're at, and where you're going. And my second point is don't worry about others' opinions. Opinions are just that. Unproven facts. People are going to talk, people are going to say what they think and how they feel about you. And oftentimes, some of those opinions may hurt. And it's okay to, feel hurt by those opinions, but you have to realize they're opinions. They do not define your character. And you have to know who you are as a person. You have to train yourself to say, okay, these are just opinions. They're not facts. They don't know me. They don't know my struggle. So opinions, block those out. The next one, allow yourself to make mistakes. Oh, this one is so important. The one thing about self-love, a lot of people think that it's perfection, that you are not supposed to make mistakes. You're not supposed to cry, have any emotion. And the main thing with self-love is that you're going to make mistakes along the way. You're going to mess up. You're not going to always do and say the right things. And that's okay. As long as you learn from those mistakes and just have a mental note in your head, okay, well, I did that, or I said this, and I just know moving forward that I need to make sure that I don't run into that again. So it's okay to make mistakes. The more mistakes that you make, the more that you learn, the more wisdom that you gain. So think of it like that. And then our next point, number 4, remember your value doesn't lie on how your body looks. Now, oftentimes, a lot of women, we think that our bodies means self-love. That if we have the perfect body, that the right man will come to us, they'll love us. And self-love has nothing to do with how your body looks. It's all about how you feel. Now, my philosophy is, if you look good, you feel good. So that's why I always say you look good, you feel good. So that's part of self-love too. But don't put so much emphasis, on your body, because mentally, spiritually, emotionally, you have to be good all the way around. And in those areas, if those areas are not, strong and together, then the body, how your body looks, that don't mean nothing. You gotta have everything else together first. So you don't have to have the perfect body, but just be healthy. That's it. Don't be afraid to let go of toxic people. Oh my gosh. Whew, my life story. Toxic people. This is, as like I said, as women, men and women in general, letting go of toxic people. I don't know why that is so hard for most of us to do. I don't know why. You know, we know that when we have toxic people in our lives, we know that they're detrimental to our mental and emotional health. But for whatever reason, you know, it's hard to let those people go. Letting go of toxic relationships, letting go of toxic friends, and sometimes they may even include family members that are toxic. And because there's history tied within that individual, and you feel like if you rid of that person, that that's going to make you a traitor, that you are going to feel like a bad person, like you abandoned them. But if they are not helping with your self-love journey, helping you to be a better person, then friend, family, boyfriend, girlfriend, it doesn't matter. If they are toxic, you need to let them go. Point blank. If you want to have a good life and you want to feel good about yourself and who you are, you gotta let go of those toxic people. Like I said, it's easier said than done. It's something that takes practice. And you just gotta go about, you know, just sit down and think about how you would do it. And it will take a minute, but if you wanna live your best life, you gotta let go of those toxic people, because you will always be stuck and you'll never feel good about you, and your happiness is more important than anyone else's. Also, our next one, number 6, process your fears. Meaning that everyone has a fear. Everyone is afraid of something in life. And whatever that fear is, you have to allow yourself to feel that fear. A lot of times, if you allow fear to take over and control every aspect of your life, you'll never get to the gifts and the blessings that God has for you. So that fear, you have to exempt it. Sometimes you just gotta fall right into it and just, you know, process it and just, you know, feel those feelings. But at the same time, you just gotta do what you need to do to have a better life for you. And my last key point, trust yourself to make good decisions for yourself. Meaning that you know when you get to a point where you know what you will tolerate, what you will not, what you do want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like. You know, you have to realize when something, I always go with my gut feeling. Like if something just doesn't feel right, you know, I feel it in my gut and my discernment, and I have the spirit of discernment. And if something is not right, I always listen to my discernment, because it never steers me wrong. So whatever the situation is, you know, always make good decisions. And if you have to take the time out and to think, you know, do that. But most of the time, we already know the answer. We're just afraid to make that decision because we're afraid that the outcome may not be that good. But you have to do what's best for you. All right, so those are the 7 ways to practice self-love. So now I'm going to discuss my own personal journey with self-love. 2 years ago, I was in a very toxic relationship that was abusive, both mentally, emotionally, and verbally abusive. I mean, I noticed that before I was with this person, I was content with who I was, where I was going in my life. And then once I got with this person, I noticed that he chipped away a part of my self-esteem every single day. He would just say certain things and start planting negative thoughts in my head and having me think that the world is against me. And later on, it wasn't until later on that I discovered that his insecurities that he had about himself and how he felt about himself, he projected that onto me and made it seem like I was all these things that in all actuality really was him. And I found myself doubting myself in every area of my life. He judged me based on my shows. He told me, because I host events throughout the year, about 12, 15 shows a year. And I get a lot of compliments on my shows. A lot of people come out to my shows, they have a great time. It consists of music, poetry, and comedy. And he does shows as well. And later on, I found out that it was jealousy, that he was trying to make me feel insecure about myself as an artist, as a promoter, as a woman, just in general. He wanted to make me feel insecure about everything because that's how he felt about himself. You know, and men, they can be jealous of you too. You can have somebody you in a whole relationship with and they hating on you. And you may have experienced it and didn't think much about it, or you may not have, but it's a real thing. Men can be jealous of women too. And it wasn't until I finally decided to release myself from this relationship where I felt free. And it was hard breaking from that person because I had a soul tie. And soul ties are really, really strong. They really are. And it takes a minute to, like, you know, kind of detoxify yourself from that toxic relationship. Once I finally just was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I didn't like how I felt about myself. I didn't like how I was changing, and I wasn't changing in a good way, you know, and I became extremely insecure about everything. And that's what he wanted. He wanted that, you know. And after that, for about maybe a year and a half, I slipped into a deep depression. And it's like after that, everything, when the pandemic hit, everything just collapsed. I had to cancel all my shows, and you know, I wasn't getting any callbacks about anything. Everything kind of just went downhill from there. And I decided at that moment that I don't want to feel this way about myself anymore. I started beating myself up. I started feeling like I wasn't good enough. Everything negative that he would say to me, I would just hear it play in my mind over and over again, how I wasn't good enough, you know, and I started to believe it. And when you have someone saying negative things to you every day, you know, you start to believe that about yourself. And so I decided that I'm going to take charge of my life. So I started going to therapy. I started learning different coping mechanisms, and because I was suffering from depression and anxiety. And then after that, there was an app called Cervelo that I would use, and it has like different exercises that will help me throughout the day until I go to my next counseling session. And then I end up getting a life coach, assigned to a life coach. Anytime that I need to talk, then I can message them in the middle of the night. The next day they'll get back to me. So the therapy and the life coach, hand in hand, they help. And another thing that helped me on my self-love journey is I got a journal. And I wrote everything in that journal. Good day, bad day. I cried, you know. I blocked him on everything. Anything that reminded me of him, I got rid of it, you know. And then I wrote out a list of affirmations. I wrote a list out of everything that made me amazing, all the great attributes that I loved about myself. And I read them off to myself every morning that I would get up. I would read them to myself. And I would pray every day before my day got started. And I burned incense and plantain sticks around the house, you know, just to set the mood and calm me. Just different techniques that I use to get myself back on my self-love journey. And now, you know, 4 months later, you know, I started getting gigs again. And I started glowing. I started feeling good about me. I noticed that my attitude started changing. And I saw him when I went to an event and I felt nothing. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any hurt. I didn't feel any anger. I felt so powerful. I went from walking in feeling small with my head down to walking with my head held high and feeling good about me. And then seeing that his jaw dropped. When he saw me, it was like, whoa. And it's like, yes, enjoy all this fabulousness. Yes, all this. You will never experience this ever again. But it felt good because now I'm in a good place in my life, and God is blessing me because I learned to let go, and I did the work, and I took the time to truly just heal and cry and do whatever I could to just get rid of all these toxic negative feelings and emotions. And I just learned to just be at peace and center myself. And so that's how I have regained my self-love. And self-love is a never-ending journey. You're going to constantly be learning how to love yourself and new ways to improve your attitude. It's a never-ending journey. But then I know that I'm better than I am 6 months ago. And I know that I never want to go back to that place ever again. And so that's why I'm saying that if I was in that dark place and I made it out, you can definitely make it out. You have the power to do that. And so I am going to close with 2 Maya Angelou statements. There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. And we delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty. All right, that's my time. I am Danny Sky, and I just discussed my self-love journey. Like I said, I hope that I inspired someone and that you're uplifted and motivated by my story. And just know that you got this, all right? And if no one told you today, I love you, and you're just dope, amazing, and fabulous, all right?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Haynes, and I'm so excited to be a speaker for the Level Up 2021 conference. Can I get a whoop whoop? Yes, I'm so excited and honored to be a speaker and to put something in your mindset to tell you that you can win and you can level up in 2021. I know sometimes in life we feel like all hope is lost, or we feel like all the stumbling blocks and all the challenges that we go through will stop us from leveling up. But I'm coming to tell you right now, your brother Jonathan Haynes is telling you right now, you can do all things through Christ, which strengthens you. That's right, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. I want to tell you a little of my background to show you how I leveled up, and I hope this encourages you, inspires you to keep going and to keep fighting and to keep pressing, okay? Are y'all ready? Hold on to your seats. Listen, my father died at 11 years old from a brain aneurysm. And he died in 2007, and this happened in 2006. And I went through a downward spiral. I tried to commit suicide, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Yes, you heard me right. I tried to commit suicide 3 times, but God kept me each and every time. And I'm telling you this because we always feel like all hope is lost, or we feel like we're in these spots that are trying to detach us from our destiny. But I'm coming to tell you that when God gets ready to bless you, it doesn't matter the day, the hour, or the month. When he's ready to level you up, he's going to level you up. And I want you to put this in your mindset. Stop looking for man's validation. We need to be focused on God's validation. And in my case, I was looking for man's validation when I should have been looking for God's validation. And my thing and my speech is just encouraging you and to empower you to level up, okay? So I tried to commit suicide 3 times. 14, 18, and 20. And the most impactful over my life is when I had a gun to my head. I pulled the trigger, my God, but the bullet didn't come out. And God said, didn't I save you the first time and the second time? What makes you think I'm not going to save you again? And that's what comes to our mind all the time. What makes you think you're not worthy to be here? If God has placed you here and you still wake up every morning, you have arms and legs to walk, and you have the ability to talk, come on, somebody. That's a reason that God has kept you here. No matter the finances situation, no matter what's going on in your family situation, in business, on your job, you have what it takes to level up and make it happen. In spite the odds of people telling you you're going to be like your mother, you're going to be like your father. Come on. You're going to be like your great-grandmother, la-di-da to everybody else. But the devil is a lie. You never let somebody take accountability over your life and speak things into your life. You don't let nobody speak those things to your life, because the devil is going to be defeated after this, okay? So you put that in your mindset. Whatever God has for me, it is for me. I want you to write that down. What God has for you, it is for you, because the Bible tells you that he will make your plans valid. Come on, somebody. No matter what comes your way, God is always going to be there. And to level up in today's world, you have to take opinions from others. You might get a million no's, but that one yes is going to change your whole life. So don't get defeated. Don't get dismayed because you get all those no's, because that's just leveling you up for your next victory. Come on, somebody. I have been told no all the time, but God stepped up and showed who was really in charge. Don't worry about what man has to say. You worry about what God has to say, because many times we will always try to get validation. As I said before, don't worry about man's validation. Always depend on God's validation, because sometimes we will always get defeated and we get hurt because people are telling us no. But that's just telling you that you got something hard. You have something else to work harder for and to keep on going, to keep striving for your best level up position. Okay, can I get a whoop whoop? Yes, God has ordained you for a purpose. So to level up, we have to get our mindset right. And what I tell people all the time in my consulting firm is to write out the plans that you want for your life, because once you write it down and you see it, God will, to me, once you write it down, you see it all the time, it will come into fruition. And so one of the things I was taught is to write it down. And for instance, you know how we get those situations we're eager not to do something, and we're eager not to do it, and we know we're supposed to do it, and we know we don't supposed to do it. Like when our mother told us don't touch that stove, and you got that eager to touch the stove and you get burnt. I'm telling you to touch that stove, and let's get moving and to level up in today, okay? And so I wanted to tell you a bit of my backstory, because I want that to encourage you. Despite everything that I went through gangs, drinking by 16, smoking by 16, tried to commit suicide at 14, 18, 20, but God had a plan for my life to level up. And so my whole speech is talking to you about when you feel like all hope is lost, or you feel like you're disconnected from the world. I'm coming to tell you right now that you are here for a reason. There's a purpose for your life, and that's why you're listening to the Level Up Conference, to get something for your business, your family, and some encouraging words. And that's what I'm trying to instill in you. No matter what the enemy thinks he's throwing your way, God always has that, like a basketball court. You know, when you try to shoot it and they come and block it, every time the enemy throws something your way, God blocks it. Come on, somebody. Woo! I feel my help coming on. But that's what the God does all the time. When the enemy always trying to throw things your way, he blocks it out. And so what I want to give you and how I leveled up is to pray. Keep your focus on your goals. Don't let anything distract you from your purpose. Don't let anything distract you from your destiny. Don't let anything distract you from what you know God has ordained for your life. Because many times, and I'm going to put that out there, you can't tell your friends everything that you got going on. And that's what sometimes in business, you keep telling friends or your so-called friends what you got going on. And you wonder why sometimes your things are not coming on the ground. Because do you know people can speak curses over what you're trying to do? And that's why they tell you it's very important. Don't tell everybody your business until you got it off the ground. I had to learn that the hard way. I was sitting here, had great things going on in my life, and I kept spreading it. And when I kept spreading it, people that wasn't genuinely there to support me was speaking things over my life. And that's what you have to realize in today's society in the world. Everybody is not your friend. It does not matter if you've been friends for 10 to 20 years. Sometimes you have to let go of those friendships. I had friendships for over 20. I'm only 25 years. I grew up with people, so 10 to 15 years. And I had to let that go. Because I don't have time to be stagnated. I don't have time to be in those same positions that I was in the younger ages. And sometimes you have to disconnect from people to level up in your business and in your career. Because you can't be around people that's always got something negative to say, always bringing you down, always don't have nothing good to say about nobody else. That can be a distraction to you leveling up. I'm here to tell you that. You can't keep being around things that are going to deter you from your blessing or on your business or on your family or on whatever you're trying to do and level up. You can't have those type of environments and toxicities in your everyday environment. So you're hearing from your brother, you have to let those things go to get to where you want to go and to level up. I hope you're getting something from this. What I do, I speak and encourage you. So my thing is to encourage you to level up in whatever you got going on, because we have some amazing speakers talking about everything. And I want my message and my speaking to encourage you to keep telling you to fight on. Because let me tell you something, if nobody has told you this, I love you. And many times when we go through things, people don't tell you that they love you and they care for you and genuinely happy for you and your success. But I want to tell you that, and eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard the kind of blessings that's about to fall on you. And so what you need to do to level up is just to keep that mindset, have I told you, to keep encouraged, to keep praying, keep believing, let go of those negative friends and family, because sometimes family is the number one people that speak curses over what God has for you. And let's just be honest. This is about leveling up. We got to have that level up truthfulness. Listen, I hope you got something from my speaking today. I hope it inspires you. I hope it gave you some wisdom. I hope it gave you some nuggets about encouraging what you need to do. But I want to leave this with you. Never let what somebody else had to say about you detach you or deter you from your leveling up. And that's in business, family, because let me tell you, I tell this saying all the time, never let somebody put you back in a situation that you had to pray yourself out of. Woo! I'm going to say that again. I want you to write that down. Never let somebody put you back in a situation that you had to pray yourself out. Because sometimes it's very hard to move on from the past hurts and pains. And I wanted to leave you with that. Never let somebody put you back into a situation that you had to pray yourself out of. I hope that you enjoyed me on today. I hope it inspires you, lifts you up, and let's level up in 2021. Can I hear you say level up? Come on, let me hear you. Level up, hey, level up, hey. It's show time. I wanted to leave you with that. God bless you all, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you, and continue to level up, because God is getting ready to do a great thing in your life, in your business, in your family. So God is going to put out an open heaven and bless you tremendously. You heard that from your boy. By the time you finish reading this, by the time you finish listening to this and this 3-day conference, God is going to blow your mind. God bless you all. My name is Jonathan Haynes, and I'm so excited to have been speaking with you on today. God bless you all.
I am Dr. Sonia Ricketts Stinson from Chicago, your visionary and legacy coach. For over 30 years, I birthed forth a vision, becoming the founding CEO of a nonprofit organization serving individuals who are homeless. Today, that nonprofit is thriving and one of the leading nonprofits in Chicago, serving individuals who are homeless. My topic today is mastering the principles of visionary leadership. I will be able to share with you 3 basic principles and 1 major principle of how principles of visionary leadership is so important in birthing forth a vision. Before we get started, let me provide you some principles, nuggets on what we will use as a definition of a visionary leader. Are you ready? Let's go. A visionary leader is a person who is unafraid of birthing forth vision in chaos. As a visionary leader, who is also a senior pastor, a nonprofit and profit coach, an African American woman from the hood who had a speech impediment. When I was young, I failed several grades, barely made it through grade school, was told by my third grade teacher that I would never be anything but a wife with a house full of children. Today, I'm happy to report that I've earned several degrees. But there is a question that I'm always asked when someone is ready to move their vision forward. They always ask me, how did you build a nonprofit organization, keeping it from failing, with keeping it relevant, and having the longevity that you are experiencing? My reply is, I did not avoid the pitfalls. I always reply, vision begins with leadership. Vision begins with leadership. One of the major principles that I share as a visionary leader is that any vision must begin with leadership. A visionary leader's role is to bring clarity to the vision. And let me share with you a little bit about a vision without clarity. Brings no action, that has no action steps, has no specific purpose, is often just a pipe dream. Vision must be written, and some feet must be put to the vision. You know that scripture in Habakkuk 2. It says, write the vision, make it plain. I'm paraphrasing. And when they read it, they shall run and tell everyone. And it also says, though the vision may tarry, only for a little while, it will come to pass. My 30 plus years as an African American woman, a senior pastor, a community advocate, and someone who is often sought out to assist individuals bring vision to reality is why I wanted to share with you the principles of visionary leadership today. One of the first things and one of the first steps that I explain as a visionary is that your vision always needs clarity. You should always know where your vision is going. Always know the purpose of your vision. Always know why you want to bring the vision forward. So, vision needs clarity. Therefore, visionary leaders are individuals who are able to see the potential of how the world can and should exist, and have the boldness and the courage to take the necessary steps to bring it there and to bring it to pass. Let me repeat that. A visionary leader is an individual who has the potential of how the world should be and how it should exist, and have the boldness and the courage to get it there. As I said earlier, leadership begins with vision. You cannot have vision without leadership. A visionary leader is an individual who is also consistent and committed in the pursuit of success, while recognizing that they are setting the pace for others as others are watching. Visionary leaders are articulators. Yes, articulators. Visionary leaders therefore have the ability to see something accomplished while well in advance of becoming a reality. Let me say that again. As a visionary leader, one of the principles and one of the definitions that I want to leave with you is that they are articulators. They know how and have the ability to see something accomplished well in advance of it becoming a reality, thus often propelling a visionary leader well ahead of the curve. A visionary leader. Visionary leaders know how to move and take action on a vision. They're able to evaluate it. They're able to pinpoint the right time for adjustment. They know when it's time to pivot, and they know when it's time to adjust the vision. Therefore, visionary leaders, crisis does not affect a visionary leader. Visionary leaders often triumphant in the time of crisis. What else is the definition of a visionary leader? A good visionary leader is able to make the adjustment needed even when the world is experiencing challenges and chaos. Good visionary leaders can function and excel even during this year-long COVID-19 pandemic that hit not only one city but the world. Many of the visionary leaders did not panic, but was able to recognize a new trend emerging. As a visionary leader, during that time, they became pace setters. They knew how to adjust, and they knew how to pivot, and they knew how to shift, even in the midst of chaos and a pandemic. A visionary leader was able to move a vision to reality in the midst of chaos, challenges, failures, and setbacks. So let me talk now about the 3 basic principles that I've learned as a visionary leader of a nonprofit organization with a longevity of 30 plus years. One of the first principles that I want to leave with you is that visionary leaders are trendsetters. They are trendsetters. They are individuals who will set trends. They bring forth innovative ideas. They are able and always are creative. They bring creativity to a vision. Visionary leaders are pioneers. Visionary leaders are able to find loopholes, looking to fulfill unfulfilled niches in a vision. Let me tell you about my new book, Vision Unleashed, Legacy Ignited. And there is a chapter in that book that I talked about niche research. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that during this presentation. So visionary leaders are always pregnant with vision, and their vision is always leaping and ready to come forward. Today, I ask you, as a visionary leader, one of the principles is, what is making your baby leap? What does that mean? What keeps you up at night? What do you always envision? What are you always talking about? What do you know that you're called to do? What is making your baby leap? What I've learned about in a 2021 visionary, I might look at Stacey Abrams. You know who she is. She ran for governor in Georgia. And she recently won the NAACP award. And she reversed the trend, and she's been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Let me tell you about why I believe she's a great visionary leader to follow, setting pace, setting trends. You know, she ran for governor, and she lost the election. There were things that people were saying, but I don't want to get into that. What I love about this young woman is that she did not let failure stop her. She did not sit back and wallow in what she had lost, but she began to propel forward. She set up an organization that registered so many voters, causing Georgia to turn from red to blue, upsetting the whole thing. She reversed the trend. She set the pace. She changed the landscape of Georgia when nobody else was able to. That is a visionary leadership, that in spite of her failures, she did not allow her failure to stop her from bringing forth her vision. One of the principles of being a visionary leader is that you must move past failure and move towards your goal. Again, in my book, I want to let you know this is a dynamic book, Vision Unleashed, Legacy Ignited. You can purchase this book right now at www.SoniaStinsonMinistries.com. But hold up, there's a special coming. I want to also let you know that as a visionary leader, one of the principles of a trendsetter, they're able to shift the trend and reverse the tide and birth forth the vision that is more relevant and longevity, and it holds for generations to come. So one of the first principles that I want to leave with you of a visionary leader is that they are trendsetters. They're a trendsetter. What is the second principle that I want to share? The second principle of a visionary leader is that they are pace setters. A pace setter is a coach, a mentor, an individual who sets a model that is ready and can be imitated. Pace setters are fearless. Pace setters are bold. Pace setters are unafraid of criticism. Pace setters are willing to take the risk. Pace setters have an open mind. Pace setters are able to establish a journey of legacy where others can follow. They are like the time watch. They take a licking and they keep on ticking. Let me share with you a brief story. As I said earlier, I serve as the CEO founder of a nonprofit organization that is now thriving in Chicago. And before the establishment of this organization, I can remember that there were no daytime services in Chicago. And I was able to do the niche research and ask the question, where does an individual who has experienced homelessness go to get a piece of mail? During a large official meeting set by the city of Chicago, I was asked to introduce myself. And so I said, I am Dr. Sonia Ricketts Stinson, founding executive director, CEO of Matthew House, a daytime supported service center for individuals who are homeless that provides a cadre of services for individuals to end their homelessness as quickly as possible. She took a back step and said, wow, I like that. She came to visit the site, and a year later, every center that wanted to work with homeless people in the daytime had to provide a cadre of services and be recognized as a daytime supported service center. Wow, I wish I had a patent that. Hindsight. And so one of the traits of a visionary and the principles of a visionary leader is that they know how to set pace. They envision new possibilities. Pace setters also know how to dismantle and turn fear into power. Pace setters are able to recognize when a shift is needed. Even in the midst of a pandemic, their creative juices begin to flow like a river. It will not allow them to sit still or sit down. Pace setters know when there's time to set a new course, when there's time to set a new course of action, when there's time to step out and envision something new, when there's time to set a new vision, when there's time to envision a new vision. That is a visionary pace setter. A principle of a visionary who is a pace setter is a person that often does not respond to crisis, but they cause the crisis to respond to them. Visionary pace setters are able to assemble a new team or expand an existing team, uniting them around a new vision or a common course or a common goal. Those are visionary leaders who are pace setters. What are their principles? They are focused, They know how to set a new course of action. They recognize when a shift needs to occur and move forward and cause that shift to occur. They recognize when an adjustment in the vision needs to happen in order to keep the vision relevant for the times that it is in. A key point of a pace setter. They are able to recognize when the vision needs an adjustment so that it remains relevant and does not get stale. So, as a visionary leader, you should never underestimate a visionary leader who is a pace setter. They will crack the glass ceiling and the glass will not fall on them. That's number 2. They are pace setters. A visionary leader, number 3, the principle of a visionary leader is that they know how to move vision from concept to reality. Principle number 3, the visionary leader is able to move a vision from concept to reality. Why? Because that visionary trait or principle involves discipline. It involves staying focused. It involves being committed. It involves setting goals with timelines. It involves willing to empower others. It involves understanding birthing pains. It knows when to push and when to hold. It knows the importance of taking action and how to bring clarity to the vision. You know what? Vision without action becomes a grandiose vision and is often meaningless if action is not taken. It's grandiose if action is not taken. Visionary leaders always keep the vision in mind. Point 3, they revisit the vision as frequently as is needed in order to keep the vision relevant. They set up processes and practices that will support the vision. Yes, they do. They understand the visionary journey is just as important as the destination. Where are we going? Who are we serving? What is the purpose? What is it that we want to change? What is the destination of the vision? Not just the vision that is in itself. Because they know that they want to change and just not have a vision. Visionary leaders, as ones who's able to move concept to vision, always are willing to bring conversation to any struggle and to any challenges. They will not avoid those conversations because it helps to grow the vision and it helps to keep the vision relevant. So let's review the 3 points. Mastering visionary leadership. The first point, as a visionary leader, you must be a trendsetter. And that trendsetter is a creative person. They are pioneers and they are innovative. Again, point 1, you're a trendsetter. That means you're creative. You bring creativity to the vision. You are a pioneer and you are innovative. Point 3, you are pace setters. A pace setter is fearless. They're very bold. They're willing to take risks. They are able to envision new possibilities. They know when to shift and when to pivot. So, point 3, they're able to move vision to reality and move it forward. A visionary leader is able to move vision to reality and move it forward. So they're able to focus, they stay committed to the vision, they set processes, they understand practices, they're able to set goals, they're able to empower others to assist with the vision. So as we look at the principles of visionary leadership, let us remember the 3 principles that we spoke of today. They are pace setters. They are trendsetters, which means they're not often going to follow the leader, but they're going to set the trend for others to follow. Pace setters are fearless. They are not going to just sit around and just take no for an answer. And a visionary leader is able to bring a concept of a vision to reality. So let us remember as we look at visionary leadership. Now, I just want to remind you that you can purchase my book, Vision Unleashed, Legacy Ignited, and I have a special for you. For everyone who purchases the book between now and April 21st, using the special code of SRS Level Up, again, from now until April 25th, using the special code of SRS Level Up, you will get the book, which is normally $17, for $14. That's $14. Remember, you have to put in the code. How do you purchase a book? You purchase a book through my website at Sanja Stinson Ministries. That's www.sanja, S-A-N-J-A, Stinson, S-T-I-N-S-O-N, ministries.com. You can also call me at my toll-free number at 866-200-9850. But guess what? I have another special for you. Anyone that purchases a book between now and April 20th, with the book, there will be a 30-minute coaching session. There's only 3 opportunities for 3 individuals to purchase the book. And if you purchase the book between now and April 20th, there will be a free 30-minute coaching session on moving your vision to reality that creates legacy for others to follow. So let me review. If you purchase the book, you can purchase the book for $14 using the code SRS Level Up between now and April 5th. The first 3 people that purchase the book between now and April 20th will receive a 30-minute coaching session on how to move your vision forward. How to move your vision forward that creates legacy. Listen, I am Dr. Sonia Ricketts Stinson, your visionary and legacy coach from Chicago. Thank you. Have a great and fantastic day. I will see you next time.
Another awesome Level Up panel discussion. I'm Laura Nicole Sinclair, fashion, image, and brand strategist, an Emmy Award-winning journalist, speaker, and your host. I am so excited to be here. And over the last year, we all have unfortunately experienced loss in some form, whether it was our home, jobs, physical touch, or even our beloved loved ones. Picking up the pieces from it all can be hard. Joining me to have this conversation on how we all can pick up the pieces is a great group from across the world who all have felt a similar pain that so many of us have dealt with over the past year. Please help me welcome Rayla Allerson.
Hi, I'm Rayla Allerson. I'm a global educator, international speaker, mentor, and green entrepreneur. And I'm very happy to be here. Yes, I have experienced loss this year.
Yes, thank you so much, Rayla, for joining us. Lee Mariano.
Hi, everyone. Lee Mariano here. I am a transformational life and success coach, and I am so happy to be here with you tonight as we talk about how to recover from and overcome the loss that we have all experienced over this last year.
Yes. Welcome. Next, we have Noreen Henry.
Greetings, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here. I am Noreen N. Henry, a Victorious Living Strategist. And this is the perfect topic because that's what I'm about, overcoming. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Next, we have Dr. Marcia Whitaker.
Thank you, Lauren, and thank you to the other panelists for being here. And I am a physician and also a life coach, and I help women who feel trapped in their personal prison, and I help them to break out and to live life without limits. And I'm excited to go dive a little deeper into this topic on how we keep going after loss.
Thank you for being. Next, we have Cher Graham.
Hi, everyone, and thanks, Lauren. I am a coactive human care coach, a writer, and I tell stories about people and their human behavior. This past year, I've felt lost, but not like everyone else. My loss was in knowing that I was helping others, nonprofit organizations, individuals, walk through their loss. And I have a different approach on how I handle loss. And thank you for having us here.
Thank you, Cher. I can't wait to hear more about that. And last but not least, Miss Cian Wilson.
Good evening. I am so excited to be here. Very grateful for your topic on today. I am an author, a speaker, a motivational coach for over 8,000 students at the Tennessee State University. So I deal hands-on with women who have issues such as depression, anxiety, who self-sabotage, and who also procrastinate, all of those to which I've had. So I'm excited to learn more from each of you so that I can take this information back to the women at Tennessee State University. It's a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us. This is an amazing group. And like I said, this group is from across the world. And I'm sure this will be a great opportunity for us all to pull from one another, especially when we get in dark places and we just need that little extra push, to move forward. So I have my paper, I have my pen, I am ready to dive in. I'm ready to talk about it. I want to start with you, Dr. Marcia. And as a physician and a life coach, you're seeing both sides of it, over the past year, the physical health, and then being a life coach, that's more of the mental, right? And so tell me a little bit more of how this last year has been for you, and if you have had a dark moment yourself over the last year.
Yeah, as you said, thank you. It has been challenging, and even in the illness realm, there's been times when we've been sick and we're afraid to even go to the doctor because you don't want to become sicker, or what many have had is they were unable to come home and loved ones have passed away. And so the thing that I also have is the challenge is that the time of talking about the mental, we've needed more time. And in the rat race of how clinical medicine is, we don't always have the time to devote to it. And so that is, we're in this space where it's now okay not to be okay.
Exactly. You're right. It is now okay to not be okay. I think it's more of an acceptable thing, especially as a group of women. A lot of times we pick up the pieces, we keep it moving, but we really haven't healed the pieces that are broken inside of us. So you are so right. And I'm so glad that we're able to have conversations like this to normalize it and say, it's okay, feel how you feel, and let's keep moving, let's move forward, but we got to deal with it. Noreen, I want to bring you in because you said this is something that you deal with your clients daily, right?
Yeah, it's overcoming, because as the question that you asked, like how we were affected by everything that happened last year. So we had passings of family close to us and friends close to us, and not being able to go to celebrate their life or doing it on Zoom. And so those were challenging because you don't get that closure that you would normally get. And so for me, it was quite challenging. And then I'm the type of person that I keep moving forward and look at everything from a positive standpoint. So I've had lessons, even though there's a lot of things that were negative, I've had a lot of lessons in this season, because currently I'm still working my job and I'm working at home permanently, and that saves a lot for me. And so even though there's a lot of negativity that goes on, I look at the positives in it and look at things from God's perspective.
Rayla, I want to bring you in and talk to you a little bit about your past year, how you have dealt with picking up the pieces in your own life or those close to you.
Well, it's been an absolutely interesting year. I don't think anybody of us prepared for it. I have lost, actually in the past, it's been very interesting here in Manila. We've actually lost families. That's how bad the virus has hit us. And but the silver lining here is really the connectivity that allows us, for instance, occasions like this, wherein we gather, not knowing really each person there, but there is this shared humanity. Each and every one of us is struggling in our individual ways and coping, managing, Now, in my case, in my personal case, I have had the pleasure for a second chance, and I got married last year, January, right before the COVID. And if I did not do that, then I would not be able to, things have to be official for you to be able to cross borders, etc. That has been a blessing. But still in all, at this point, we're still separated. But you cope again, and you just make do.
Wow.
You make do.
Congratulations. And I know that has to be tough to be separated, but it really kind of goes back to picking up the pieces. You had a distraction, something to kind of help you stay in a different mindset. And so regardless of if we lost things ourselves, sometimes it's so easy to go into a space when you're seeing all of this covered on the news, and it's just so much, just thing after thing, and seeing the doctors and the nurses, like people who you're used to seeing so sterile, just like very strong, breaking down. It was devastating to watch, and I think mentally took a toll on a lot of people. I even found myself just in a dark place sometimes, just feeling for the people across the world, the number of lives that have been lost. Lee, how did you cope with this, especially mentally?
So, it's interesting. In my day job, I'm a chief HR officer. And I actually just, retired. So some of the things I saw over the last year were actually due to my work, because we had to terminate the employment of, I want to say, over 200 people. And to terminate someone's employment during the time of a pandemic,
wow,
it was literally telling these people, your employment here is ending. We know the world has literally stopped turning. There's nothing we can do for you. And now you have to go home and tell your spouse, your children, whomever, that you no longer have a job. And sitting across from people, of course, we're on Zoom, right? But sitting across from someone on video, telling them this and seeing them break down and cry, And having to do that over 200 times, that took a toll on me. That took a toll on my mental state. We also had an employee who passed away from COVID at the very beginning. In early March, mid-March, when the world kind of shut down, we had an employee who passed away. And it was hit after hit after hit. And for me, just to keep going, right? I had to be there for my employees. I had to be there for the company. I had to be there for myself, my own family. We were dealing with this change. And I really had to just think about, even though the challenge was there, that people were we still had to keep going. We still had to put one foot in front of the other. And as I transitioned over to life coaching and helping women kind of rediscover themselves and move forward in their lives, some of those same skills that I needed as I was helping people overcome in my role as a chief HR officer, I've been able to pull over into the life coaching, because it's really all about putting one foot in front of the other and knowing and understanding that tomorrow is a brighter day, that there is something else meant for you. So it's really a challenge, it's a struggle. But I know that if people just have to keep moving forward, they'll get to the next step. They'll get to the brighter day.
Right. And I think you brought great points, change, challenge, and keep going. Share.
I take a different approach. My faith has always been there to help guide me through the last 6.5 decades of my life. And even when I felt that I wasn't talking to God, or I wasn't giving my higher power enough energy, I found that knowing that things were where they needed to be for a reason helped me. And it allows me as a coactive human care coach and a behaviorist to help others understand that change occurs. It is the only constant we have in life. And it occurs as we're sitting here talking with each other every second. So for me, I understand that I can make that choice to make a change. Just like that. Snap your fingers, it can be done. I have a saying that I work with some of my self-care clients, and that is breathe, smile, and laugh. And in those 3 seconds, 3 other things have happened. But at the end of breathe, smile, and laugh, they laugh and they smile. And so change is a choice. What I also found during this last year was it brought to attention a lot of the areas, whether you're an entrepreneur or a parent, or I'm single, being single person, that you might not see elsewhere. And that is, are we doing a lot of planning and thinking about where we are? And for me, I spent much of that time helping other nonprofit organizations. I'm the Mental Health Coalition co-chair, and we took on helping other nonprofits finding the face coverings, helping them find PPEs, helping them with resources. And this community came together. What I did see was something that my fear as we move out of this pandemic and order is kindness. We saw so many people around the world who acts of kindness were amazing and are amazing. And when the states continue to make the stay-at-home orders different, or no mask or no face covering order, what I'm seeing now is people are trying to get back to what they consider their normal, but there is no normal. What's normal for me today wasn't normal yesterday. And that kindness that they might have had and showed others, they're not showing. So we're getting back to being rude, being not understanding, and you talked about apathy and compassion. My fear is that as we pick up the pieces, we still have to find that compassion and empathy that, we had a year ago, that we built up over the last year. And so I'm not seeing it. So, that's a choice. And I'm grateful that I have an opportunity to help those who need help.
Absolutely. And we're grateful for people like you, and kindness is healing. It is a form of healing. When we start seeing those news stories about people around the world who were doing those acts of kindness, it did lift you up out of that dark place for a moment. It was so nice to see that. Now, Cher, you do have on PPE this evening. And you told us, privately, but just for those who are wondering,
Well, this is part of my daily wear and has been for many years pre-pandemic. And just to let you know that the United States government has a national preparedness plan, and in it, over the last 20 years, they wrote an entire plan for a pandemic. But if you don't read the national plan, you may not know that our government, in and when writing, they put in as a pandemic. So they were well aware of the word decades ago. But my face covering is for my health. I have chemical toxicities. So as our air changes and the quality of toxins in the air, and some of them I don't even know, could be chemicals that are in my house, a new product that comes in line with, I wear it so that I can breathe and I can sit here and talk to you without coughing or having to screen out so that I can sneeze or do whatever. So this is why I wear a face mask and a face covering. So, and I love it. It's a part of my daily environment, and it has been. So everyone who complained about having to wear one, I just laugh and go, I'm sorry, but I wear one every day, and I don't care if it matches or not. And mine doesn't today. So, you just have to be beautiful and laugh. Yeah. And that's why I wear one. But thank you for asking. No, I have no problem. It's me. Yay, it's me.
Well,
and I'm smiling underneath.
Wonderful. And it is a part of our everyday life now. And so this is something that you have been going through. And I think we all can sympathize with you a little differently. And oral. So you're going to have to tell me more about where you get your mask. And I made masks over the pandemic, so I may have to send you some masks too.
I will gladly wear them. I have, we were able to connect 5 different face covering groups over the last year. In the first 90 days of the pandemic, to 2,500 masks made and delivered to 27 nonprofits over the course of Mobile County. And I was excited because we sent them, we shipped them. We, if anyone called and said, I need them, we knew in what state where to go. So we actually helped some hospitals in Houston, Texas. We helped some businesses in Atlanta. So it was just wherever. But I will be glad to wear one.
Awesome. And I like one of the things that you said was breathe, smile, and laugh. And when you said it, I did. I chuckled and I smiled. And Cian, I want to bring you in now to talk about your past year and how you are breathing, smiling, and laughing after that. Breathing, yes.
Yes.
With all 8,000 kids, is that what you said?
8,000 every day, at least 9 months out of the year, and I love it. As an author and a speaker, I love doing that, but that's new to me. That's just the last 2 to 3 years with my book, Overcoming Me, and then Overcoming You, as in overcoming students. But as the director of the Women's Center at Tennessee State University, definitely it has been a very stressful, a very complicated year attempting to reach out to young ladies. And when we're talking about professional development, leadership development, mentorship, and even offering coaching services to them, it was great when we were hands-on because they could come in my office. I went to dinner or lunch with them, but now we sent them, every university, every college had to send their students home. And so what we didn't even think about, I remember that Dr. Whitaker was talking about mental awareness, mental health, and physical, but we did not think about domestic violence. Most of the time, whether it's those of us, faculty, staff, individuals, we see our families a couple of hours each day. We leave, go to work. Then when we come home, we eat together maybe, and then, we go to bed. But now that we've sent everyone home, we've seen everything on television. We're trying to explain to our students why lives matter. We're trying to help them understand why they can't socialize. And if you know anything about students, they will challenge you. So I've had to be strategic, intentional, and creative in reaching them and making sure that they were not in pain, making sure that they were okay and knew how to voice what was going on inside of them. We're talking about 18 to 21-year-olds. And if we're talking graduate students, a little bit older. But definitely, I have done all that I could, sometimes being in a not so good state myself. But as Cher was just saying, leaning on my own faith and belief in Christ, that's my higher power. And so leaning and depending on him and asking him to help me to reach these students.
Absolutely. I think that is the best way, because we cannot do it on our own. We need the help of those around us, of our loved ones, to really just move forward. Like Cher said, the community came together to figure out how we can help one another, bring hope to one another. So I want to talk a little bit more about picking up the pieces and how we do that and how we find hope. So Rayla, I want to bring you back in and let's talk to our viewers about how we can push forward and pick up the pieces.
I've always been a very positive person, and you really, it's always best to look at the bright side. There's always this silver lining. And I think what it has brought out is what you mentioned, community and creativity. Necessity, invention is the mother of necessity. What has happened here, for instance, is in this subdivision or village that I live in, everybody has started to become, open up their kitchens and become entrepreneurial. And there is what you call the hyper-local markets, because we live in a country where there are 110 million people, and a lot of very, very poor people. So, for instance, what has happened is through this year, we're taking care of 600 families and feeding them, and also, we've also gone into looking into livelihood programs, so that you don't only give them the fish, but teach them how to fish. And I can, is it Cian? Yes, darling. Because I'm in education as well, and I have a foundation, and I have embraced the public education sector, and these are the children that are most marginalized. And I have goosebumps just thinking of really being able to be around for two children that nearly committed suicide. Yeah. So, but I think this time has really brought out the best in many people. You mentioned kindness and humanity, and that's the thing that we need to celebrate.
Absolutely, we absolutely do. We need to celebrate that, and we need to normalize. Also, there's that word, normalize mental health. And that it is okay to talk to someone.
Right.
And we did see over the past year numbers go up when it comes to therapy. Even online therapy, they have all type of resources now where you don't have to leave your home. You can stay on your own couch and talk virtually. Dr. Marcia, I want to bring you back in because this is your field. And what can you tell our audience about mental health, and what would you say to encourage them while they are picking up the pieces, how this can help them pick up the pieces?
So as a life coach, one of the things that we teach is the mindset. And the most powerful thing of how we move through this is to change how we think. And even though this was a bad experience, we have talked, even on the panel, about the community, about the kindness. And something happens when there is a natural disaster, where there is some commonality in distress. When, I hate to say it, but with the shootings and all that kind of stuff, when we have boiled down and taken away the barriers of us just being human, now we're able to lock arms together and make masks and and feed those that are lacking. And so there's that community where we're now able to say, you know what, I'm not in this alone. I have other people, I have other families, there are other countries that are going through the same thing. So let's boil it down to where we're common as opposed to focusing on where we're different.
Well, guys, this has been absolutely awesome. This is such a needed conversation, and I took a lot from each of you ladies, really just moving forward. And I think the biggest thing, my biggest takeaway, is kindness. And it can come in all different forms, whether we are receiving it or giving it. And when we give, we receive it back, right?
Absolutely.
So if we all, in the midst of trying to pick up the pieces for ourselves, if we can show kindness to other people, then maybe it would help give us a little bit of hope, a little glimmer of hope to move forward, to pick up the pieces, to put one foot in front of the other. What do they say? You eat an elephant one bite at a time. You make a house one brick at a time. And as we are all trying to pick up the pieces, just to take one step at a time. And it's okay to cry it out. It is absolutely okay to take time for yourself. So before we wrap everything up, if you all will we'll do a quick round robin on a few encouraging words that we can give our audience to help them pick up the pieces and move forward. And we will start with Lee.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate it. So my final words are just remember, your purpose here. I know that this has been a very tough year. I know that this has been a very tough time for people to go through, but get up every morning, breathe in and out, take one step, put one foot in front of the other every single day, and you will make it to the other side. So those are my final thoughts.
Awesome. I love it. Noreen, your final words.
My final words are, there is always hope. Like, even though there's circumstances that are challenging, there is always hope. We always have to look at there's a silver lining. Things will change. Things will get better. So always remember, no matter what, there is always hope. There is always hope.
Love that. There is always hope. Rayla.
I want to say that there is a God, a supreme being bigger than ourselves. And with that, hope does spring eternal.
Absolutely.
And use this time. It's been a precious time to reflect and you need to take care of yourself. You need to love yourself, because you cannot give what you do not have. And so that people can borrow strength from you.
Thank you so much. Share.
Here are 4 tips that I give from my self-care classes and with my clients. You are the creator of your own reality. Your thoughts become words. Words are powerful. If you need to change your thoughts, change your words, change your words, change your mindset. But most of all, remember that you can retrain your brain, and change is okay, but you can do it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then breathe, smile, and laugh.
Love it. Share, that's how I get out the bed every morning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do it. Let's do it. Awesome. Dr. Marcia.
Sure. My final words are feel the feels. And a lot of times we spend time running and not acknowledging, but there's power in acknowledging where you are. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be mad. But once you acknowledge it, then you can decide to change it to something else. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. So awesome. Acknowledging where you are. And last but not least, Miss Cian Wilson.
Thank you again for this opportunity to be here. I've enjoyed hearing everyone. Believe in God for those that are believers, or believe in your higher purpose. There is gold in the ashes. For every negative thing that has happened, I believe that all of us will realize that we've gotten great things. Even in spite of the negativity, there have been positives that have come out of this. And also be available for others, and make sure that you truly see what's going on around you, and that people do need each and every one of us in their lives.
Wow. Love that. Be available for others. Ooh. Such good wisdom in this room, and I am so grateful to be in it with each of you ladies. This has been great. I told you I was taking notes. This is a paper full of notes. I am really grateful. I really hope you at home have taken to heart what each of these ladies have said, and that you have found some way to pick up the pieces and just keep moving forward, because there is somebody out there waiting on you to pick up those pieces. Okay, there's someone out there waiting for you to get your business together. And we all in this room, we are all rooting for you as we are going through this time together. But once this pandemic is over, there will still be rough times and rough patches, and we still have to pick up those pieces. So I hope that you take to heart what these women have said, and you move forward gracefully. Look, this is a powerful group, like I've said, and you can find out where you can hear each one of these ladies who are speaking on this stage again. So make sure you go to timetolevelup.com and find out where you can hear these ladies speak again. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. Thank you guys at home for joining us. This has been an honor to be your host. Remember, you can upgrade your tickets at timetolevelup.com. You can also go see those awesome vendors at timetolevelup.com. Listen, there's so much more to enjoy. I hope you are enjoying this Level Up Summit. And until next time, I'm Lauren Nicole Sinclair, and I'll see you. Bye-bye.
Not only am I a speaker, but I'm also a retired Air Force veteran, author, certified life coach, advocate, and entrepreneur. Today, I'll be sharing my wisdom on the topic, tips for busy entrepreneurs. Burnout is real. Now, I know very firsthand from my own experience what burnout feels like. Some of you may have experienced this and some may not have. So it's always good to have a refresher or a new look at how to prevent burnout as an entrepreneur. Just to share my experience with you, I remember in my first year in business, I wanted to make great first impressions, network with a lot of folks, do collaborations, create partnerships, make a whole lot of money, and support everybody I came in contact with personally and professionally. Well, let me tell you, in my mind, that's what an entrepreneur looked like. I just knew I was a boss and I was crushing it. But truth be told, I was doing the most. Do you ever remember hearing people say, I'm going hard in the paint? Well, that's what I was doing, so I thought. Listen here, what really happened was all this led me to exhaustion, a lot of frustration, being used by people, making no money, which means dishing out more than I was taking in, and it literally took a toll on me financially, physically, and mentally. So hear me when I say this. A sister was burned all the way out. In all seriousness, though, I had to literally take a hiatus for a couple of months. I needed to relax, get well, refocus my mind, and rebrand myself. So if you are someone who feels you are on the brink of a burnout, let me share some of my tips with you that I have implemented and executed since my own burnout. Are you ready? Grab your pen and your paper so you can take down these notes. So here we go, and let's get started. Tip number 1, establish boundaries. So you're probably wondering, what does boundaries look like? Well, learn to say no. No is a one-word statement. And guess what? It's okay to say no to people. You don't have to be a people pleaser. You simply can't do everything for everybody. But trust me, I get it. You want to help everybody. You want to be able to teach people. But guess what? Learn to be selective in your helpings. You can't work and grow your own business if you're always saying yes to many tasks and doing stuff for others, especially if they aren't paying you. Know that saying no is a good thing. It's really a healthy act because people will suck the life out of you if you let them. So don't get caught up in the small stuff. Learn to make people respect you. And by setting boundaries, that's what you will do, is learn to say no. Boundary number 2, establish a time schedule. If you don't want to feel like you're on the hook to respond to messages over the weekend or have clients expect instant response time, set a ground rule that will have any client know that you will not have any client interaction over the weekend, even if you are working. That means no phone calls, no emails, no texting, no direct or private messages in your inbox. It's important to communicate when you aren't available. Over time, your clients will learn that you are only available Monday through Friday or whatever days and times you have established. And finally, the last part of establishing boundaries, limit your phone calls. Now, look, I like to talk on the phone, so I know this was a big one for me. I remember in my first year in business, I gave away hours and hours of phone conversations that were straight up brain picking sessions. Wow, what a lot of time I wasted, right? But I knew I had to fix this. So in doing so, I've learned to ask the person or the people kindly, what is it I can help you with? And please send an email that I'll respond to shortly. Now, if they ask for a phone call, make sure to set a time limit on that call. For example, 20 to 30 minutes max. Personally, I absolutely love helping people and love teaching them what I've learned. But think about it. 1.5 hours later on a call, you've lost time, you've lost money, and you've given someone else your years of knowledge. If some individual wants hours of your time, to be honest, guess what? That's a paid invoice session, if you ask me. So now you have some knowledge on how to establish boundaries. So let's go into tip number 2. Revamp your networks. Now, just in life, people are there for a reason, season, or a lifetime. So how do you revamp networks? Well, first, look at your personal social media. Everybody loves social media, right? So for example, I recently purged my personal Facebook page a couple of months ago. I had about 5,000 friends. I maxed out my friends list. But guess what? I also unfriended 2,000 people on my friends list that didn't need to be there. It was a mixture of my family and also business owners. Social media is supposed to be used to socialize and stay connected and be supportive. At least that's what I believe. If people aren't intentionally staying connected, then why are they there? They don't need to be in your personal space. This is what you have a business website for, a business phone number, and your professional social media platforms for. Some people are just connected to you because of who you are and what you can do for them, yet not supportive to you at all. These are the type of people you should disconnect from. It doesn't mean that you don't care for them or have lost respect for them. It just means there's no need for them to stay connected. Listen to me. It's okay to let them go, to protect your energy, to protect your space, and also make room for people who do want to be there. The people who truly want to be there will show up, they will show out, and they will support you without you even asking. So next, when it comes to revamping your network, is partnerships. Partnerships are very powerful. We all need them in order to go further than we can individually go. But we also have to be willing to constantly be open to revamping our partnerships. Usually partnerships come in 3 distinctive phases. 1 is the ground level or startup phase. I call these partner starters. We all need them in the beginning because we need the momentum that starting anything must have. Starters help us carve out and implement phase 1 of our businesses. But just because we start out with someone doesn't mean it's forever. Number 2 is the building phase. And these are the people that will help us to figure out what goes where after we felt the thrust of the initial momentum. These people show us where things go. They bring us more of the how to do something in our business that helps expedite the building phase. Yet, we must be willing again to be open to understanding that we can't perpetually be in a building mode. This brings us to number 3. I'll call them the finishers. We all need people that can help us finish, close the deal, write that check, give the presentation, and boldly ask for the things we need in order to be successful. Still, the ability to revamp all of your partnerships is essential in our journey in order to keep us from burning out. Remember this, your network is your net worth. And again, just as in life, people are there for a reason, season, or a lifetime. And last but not least, when it comes to revamping your network, is your inner social circle. Now, let me tell you, this one here may touch a lot of people, but sometimes you have to revamp that inner circle. And that inner circle is usually the 2 to 5 people you talk to the most on a daily basis. Evaluating your social circle means recognizing that someone may be in your life, but their baggage needs to stay out. For example, if you have a friend who always demonstrates toxic behavior, such as frequent gossiping or complaining, establish boundaries. Like I mentioned earlier, draw a line in the sand by saying that you're not letting their behavior continue around you because it's draining and toxic. So Two things will either happen when you say that. They will either respect what you said or they will walk away. Either way, you have to protect your sanity. The people you bring into your life and allow to stay in your head can make or break your own success. Once you understand the importance of relationships, you can start to surround yourself with the right people. Now that you have knowledge on how to revamp your networks, let's dive into the last tip to help you with preventing burnout. And that is making yourself a priority. This is tip number 3. You are important. So how do I make myself a priority, you might ask? Well, let me help you out. Now, listen here. This list is a little longer than tip 1 and 2, but trust me, it will help you. So first, under making yourself a priority is change your mindset. If you're going to have a hope in meeting your own needs, you're going to need to change your mindset. Decide that you deserve better sometime for you each day. Stop feeling guilty for taking the time and start getting clear that it is the best thing for everyone. Next, book yourself and schedule your needs first. Yes, that's what I said. Book yourself and schedule your needs first. Just like you book your clients and your customers, you can do it for yourself as well. It doesn't need to be a large block of your day, although it could be. Schedule in at least 15 minutes each day for you or a daily ritual. If meeting your base needs such as prayer, fitness, lunch, water breaks, or even sleep is a problem for you, schedule these too. Scheduling you first supports you to establish the habits that ensure you are not the one bumped off the bottom of your priority list. Also, ensure you carve out time for your family because they are your biggest supporters. Next, start a gratitude journal. This is one that I love to do. I love to do this. A study by researchers from the universities of Minnesota and Florida found that when participants wrote down a list of the positive things that happened at the end of their day and why they made them happy, their stress levels were lowered and they had a greater sense of calm that night. This habit also helps to keep you grounded in what you love about your life and the progress that you are making. The human mind easily focuses on the negative, which is useful at times, but without the focus on the positive, you will be in a state of imbalance. Starting a gratitude journal can be challenging at first because it is yet another thing to remember to do. But when you experience the benefits, trust me, it is worth it. So grab any notebook, buy your journal, and then start spending 10 to 15 minutes writing what you are grateful for. Next, work on your business, not just in it. And you're probably saying, what are you talking about, Dr. J? Again, work on your business, not just in it. So what I mean is outsourcing to trusted advisors. You don't know everything, nor do I know everything, and you surely can't do everything. If you are a speaker, for example, then you can't also be creating your own graphics, creating your own media kit, taking your own photos, being your own CPA, doing or scheduling social media posts, and everything else. Doing all this alone, just even hearing me speak it out, is exhausting. And yes, I get it. It costs money to outsource. But listen, you are trying to do everything is also costing you money as well. So you are losing possible speaking gigs, consults with potential clients, and much, much more. Remember, outsourcing is key so you can work on growing your business and not just working in it. And the final point to add to making yourself a priority is this: do what you love. I'm going to repeat that. Do what you love. Meaning, just because you have a gift or a God-given talent doesn't mean you love what you're doing. What you're doing is just paying bills. But if you are an entrepreneur Do what brings joy to you. What brings peace to you? What gives you satisfaction? What makes you smile? What gives you happiness in your life? You know, I always reflect back to this quote by Mark Anthony that says, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I truly, truly believe that. So again, I can't stress it enough. Do what you love. So in closing, as I stated earlier, burnout is real because I have experienced it firsthand. My hope is that the tips that I've shared with you have been helpful and may be of good use to you. Whatever you decide to do to prevent burnout, just know it should provide relief, it should provide promise, it should provide comfort and a feeling of peace. When you glance through the tips that I've given you, think about other ideas you have or ideas others have shared with you. Take note of the ones that resonate with you, that really speak to your soul. Ask yourself why they stood out and how they might fit into your unique life and needs when it comes to your business. Thank you so much for carving time out of your schedule to listen and hear me speak. I am Dr. Yolanda Jerry, the Empowerment Advocate. Be inspired, be empowered, and most of all, be blessed.